tomorrow, should they need to be able to fight.
Although he admits change isn't always easy.
The trade-off for that speed is the opportunity to deliver the systems and the capabilities when we actually need them.
Which he says will help ensure the 21st century is a free century, quote, on our terms. Kevin Uretsky, Fox News.
The jackpot for tonight's Powerball lottery drawing is up to $875 million. $403 million as a lump sum. It's the second largest Powerball jackpot this year. I'm Chris Foster. This is Fox News.
Ready for some holiday magic? Pack up the family and cruise over to Go-Bert's Farm in Pingree Grove, where 2 incredible Christmas light shows are waiting to light up your night. First up, the Go-Bert's Christmas Drive-Thru Light Show. We're talking millions of lights synchronized to music that'll have you cranking up the volume. Picture this: dancing penguins getting their groove on, snowflakes cascading all around you, reindeer galloping through enchanted fields, plus a dazzling tunnel of lights that's pure Christmas magic. But wait, there's more. The legendary Larson Christmas Light Show, the one everyone's been raving about from Campton Hills, is now right here on the Go-Bert's property. 30 minutes of jaw-dropping lights, spectacular special effects, and surprise character visits that'll make the kids lose their minds with excitement. Here's the best part. You can experience both shows in one epic night. Perfect for families, couples, or even your company party bus. Because yes, limos and party buses are totally welcome. Per vehicle pricing keeps it affordable, but grab your tickets online now because these shows are selling fast. Visit GoBerts.com for tickets, times, and all the details. Go-Bert's Farm, where Christmas dreams come to life.
Hey, it's Scott Tucker and my new co-host,
Amy Jacobson,
on AM 560. We wanted you to know that we have a special show every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. here on AM 560, The Answer. It is Retirement Dakota with Scott Tucker and
Amy Jacobson.
It's every Sunday morning from 7 to 9 a.m. 2-hour show, 2-hour radio extravaganza. Amy, we're going to tantalize the listening public and the listening private with all kinds of retirement planning information. So tune in at AM 560 Sunday mornings at 7 a.m.
This past year has been one of the hardest in MyPillow's history. It's because of you that they are making it through. They want to thank you for your continued support by passing on some Christmas specials to our listeners. Get the Children's Bible Story Pillow 5-pack for $29.98. My Slippers with a free bottle of leather protectant spray for $39.98. Blankets, comforters, and duvets for as low as $25, and a blowout sale on the standard MyPillows for just $14.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY to take advantage of these wholesale prices, including the standard size MyPillow, originally $49.98, now only $14.98. Queens $18.99. Kings only $1 more. 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY. We know MyPillow products come with a 10-year warranty, but MyPillow has just announced that they are extending their 60-day money-back guarantee. That's right. Orders placed between now and December 25th will have their 60-day money-back guarantee extended through March 1st, 2026. Promo code LIBERTY.
Listen, I'm going to be straight with you. Pain just doesn't hurt your body. It steals your life. I know because I've seen it with people I care about, and maybe you're dealing with it right now. Here's what I love about Dr. Ashley Caravelli and QC Kinetics. They get it. They're not pushing surgery. They're not handing out pills. They're using your body's own healing power to fix what's broken. This is cutting edge. I've talked to people who've been through this. These are real results. No going under the knife, no medication fog, no sitting on the couch recovering, just your body doing what it was designed to do, heal itself. QC Kinetics gives you long-term relief. Make 2026 the year you get back to living without pain. They've got weekend appointments, free consultations, and you can use your HSA or FSA spending accounts. Your first consultation is free, so don't hesitate to call to find out more. Call 312-827-6261. Again, 312-827-6261. One more time, that number is 312-827-6261.
Get ready for a musical journey like no other when the Trans-Siberian Orchestra returns to Chicago on December 26th on their The Ghost of Christmas Eve 2025 tour. Enter to win tickets and the grand prize of a 75-inch TV, a home stereo system, and a $1,000 gift card. Enter today at 560theanswer.com/TSO.
It's December 8th, and this is your Fox Daily Snapshot. Today is Lard Day. It's considered to be a healthy fat, according to the Healthy Fats Coalition, which formed this holiday to inform people about the difference between unhealthy fats and healthy fats. You can celebrate by looking up a recipe that traditionally uses butter or cooking oils and replace that with lard. Drug makers BioNTech and Pfizer announced their COVID-19 vaccine to be over 90% effective in a first look at the results from their Phase 3 trial involving nearly 44,000 people in 2020. That same year becomes the busiest Atlantic hurricane season ever as Tropical Storm Theta named the record 29th storm. Born on this day in 1982, rapper Nicki Minaj. Starships includes dance, pop, and rap vibes. I'm CJ Papa. That's your Fox Daily Snapshot.
Don't get stuck with a cold shower this fall. Give CenterGuard Plumbing a call. Get a new 40-gallon water heater installed for just $1,195 for standard installation, or a 50-gallon heater for $1,295 standard installation. A proud new sponsor of AM 560, CenterGuard is offering specials on new water heaters. Don't wait. The cold temperatures are coming, and the same can happen to your water heater. If you're having hot water issues or your water heater's over 8 years old, take advantage of this fall special today. CenterGuard Plumbing is Chicagoland's same-day water heater experts. Call before noon, and they can schedule your repair or install the same day on in-stock water heaters. They'll even haul away your old one, no charge. You're only a text away from install today. Call 847-406-8883. Mention AM 560 to receive fall special pricing. That's 847-406-8883. Call or text 847-406-8883 or visit CenterGuardPlumbing.com.
When you're looking to make your business bulletproof, what comes to mind? Trustworthiness? Accuracy? Truthiness? Well, that's not even a real word. In today's competitive business landscape, considerations like trust, attention to service, accuracy, and knowledge are critical. So is cost. And finding the right balance is important, especially where your business insurance, employee benefits, and executive compensation needs are concerned. For bulletproofing your business, remember DSP Insurance Services. DSP is family-owned and has provided comprehensive risk management solutions and strategic excellence across industries for over 40 years. Business owners continue to partner with DSP because they offer the robust services of a national broker, yet a personal touch that is harder than ever to find these days. Contact DSP Insurance Services for a business and risk audit today. Visit online at dspmybusiness.com. That's dspmybusiness.com. DSP Insurance, your outsourced risk management department since 1981.
Humane Indiana has been saving pets and finding their forever homes for over 85 years. And they do it without any state or federal funding, while finding homes for cats and dogs, providing low-cost spay-neuter services, vaccines, and medicine to thousands of pets each year. Humane Indiana is only able to do this because of people like you. With your help, Humane Indiana can continue to protect pets and preserve our local wildlife. Did you know 86 cents of every dollar donated goes directly to care for the animals? And if you are over 70 and a half, you can transfer up to $105,000 from your IRA directly to Humane Indiana without paying federal income tax. This gift can be made in addition to your regular annual giving. Humane Indiana, creating a better world for the animals and the people who love them. To donate, call today, 219-513-8911, or visit humaneindiana.org. Adult Beverage Solutions is looking for a brand ambassador in all areas for beverage sampling events. You have the ability to create your own schedule because most events take place Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays at local grocery stores and independent liquor stores. Flexible scheduling with the ability to choose events that you would like to work. Receive event pay weekly. State alcohol certification is mandatory for all ambassadors. Must be 21 years of age. Competitive pay with the opportunity to earn bonus for exceptional performance. Each event you will provide consumers with product education while collecting consumer feedback. If you are interested, our team would like to connect with you about this opportunity. Please email us at careers.abstastings@gmail.com with your information and where you are located, and our team will be in touch soon. Or check us out online at adultbeveragesolutions.com/join-now. That's adultbeveragesolutions.com/join-now.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Tony Dreyfus, founder and president of Metropolis Coffee Company and a proud new customer of Signature Bank. We're a 19-year-old specialty coffee roaster located in the heart of Chicago. Some of your favorite restaurants and cafes serve our coffee. As a small business manufacturer, we understand the importance of working with the right bank, and that's why we made the move to Signature Bank. We were tired of the impersonal service that our large bank had provided. A friend referred us to Signature Bank, and their team was on site to understand our operations firsthand. They provided us the working capital to continue our successful business operations and to fuel our ambitions for innovation and growth. We now have the flexibility to grow at our own pace. That personal touch, you can't find that at a large bank, but we found it at Signature, and we can't thank them enough.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Let Signature Bank turn your business vision into reality. Visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Dan owed an unbelievable amount of money to the IRS.
I got behind on my taxes. It's a horrible feeling.
He was in denial.
And when I got those letters from the IRS, you wanted to act like they didn't exist.
Finally, Dan turned to Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima got me a settlement with the IRS. These people are really people-friendly. It was every bit of a new lease on life for me.
The fast action and the great results made Dan's head spin.
I felt like I was in a dream, but it's real, and I have paperwork to prove it. They got the job done, and life is good.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation.
If you're worried about what's going to happen with the IRS, stop worrying. Make the call now.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Dan Proft here to tell you about our 2025 Food for the Poor campaign. If you've listened to this station and to our show for any length of time, then you already know about Food for the Poor. They are a nonprofit, faith-based organization that provides food, water, medicine, clothing, and life-saving supplies directly to local partners in Latin America and the Caribbean. We all know about how bad the situation is in Latin America and the Caribbean right now. Economic decline, political instability and corruption, and high food prices. The only thing standing between these families and starvation is Food for the Poor and their partners who are providing life-saving food relief on the ground. But in order to get food and water to those who need it most, Food for the Poor needs your help. Your gift of just $150 can provide food and water for 2 children for an entire year. For a gift of $300, you can provide food and water for 4 children for an entire year. To make a gift of any amount, just call 844-862-4673. That's 844-862-4673. Or visit 560theanswer.com/foodforthepoor. And if you are a small business owner or you make the marketing or advertising decisions for a business, then you need to become a business benefactor. Just make a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Food for the Poor. And AM 560 will give you 40 one-minute commercials to air here on AM 560 The Answer between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. Monday through Friday at no additional cost to you. Lock in your 2026 marketing now at this incredible price. It really is the best deal in all of Chicago radio. You'll join a long list of businesses who are reaching AM 560's audience of affluent decision makers. And through the generosity of your business, you'll also be helping more than 30 children for a year. To take advantage of this deal, just call John Gallagher at 847-472-8950. Again, 847-472-8950. That number, one more time, 847-472-8950. Or go to 560theanswer.com/foodforthepoor. That website again, 560theanswer.com/foodforthepoor.
In the heart of Bedford Falls, one man faced incredible challenges in his business journey. George Bailey, a humble banker, knew that success often comes hand in hand with adversity. But George wasn't alone in his struggle. He discovered the power of resilience, innovation, friends, and community. Like George, your business may face obstacles, financial setbacks, fierce competition, IT nightmares, or unforeseen crises. But remember, it's not about the challenges you face. It's about how you overcome them. At Turnkey, we understand the George Bailey spirit. We're here to provide you with the solutions, guidance, and support you need to conquer your business and IT challenges. Whether you're a small-town bank, distributor, manufacturer, or a cutting-edge startup, we believe that every business has the potential to thrive. Together, we'll build a bridge to your success, just like George Bailey did in Bedford Falls. Join us at Turnkey. Let's write your own It's a Wonderful Business Life. Because like George, your dreams are worth it. Start a conversation today by visiting turnkey.pro. That's turnkey.pro.
This is Ed Morrissey of HotAir.com for Town Hall. The problem with socialism, Margaret Thatcher famously observed, is that you eventually run out of other people's money. New data shows that France is on the verge of exhausting this resource, but the U.S. is not far behind. This week, Michael Arroway published what he calls probably the scariest chart you'll see today, showing that only 1/3 of France's population works in the private sector. How are they supposed to feed the remaining 2/3 with their taxes, Arroway wondered. Well, might we wonder too. The most recent data in the U.S. shows that only 40% of the population works in the private sector. 7% work for the government. More than half of the population does not work at all. In fact, the percentage of American adults classified as not in the labor force by retirement, disability, or other reasons comes to 37.6%, slightly higher than France. Arroway highlights the unsustainability of France's social state as workers dwindle. We need to start talking about that unsustainability in the U.S. as well.
Fearless conversations and sharp analysis of the stories that matter. It's the Erin Mullins Show, now available on the Salem Podcast Network.
I do find it a little bit off-putting when someone has a history of calling others out for being complicit via their silence to then occupy that space themselves. The hypocrisy is the issue I have.
The Erin Mullins Show on the Salem Podcast Network. Subscribe today on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or at salemPodcastNetwork.com.
You need a construction company, but who?
Call Croscom.
A construction company you can trust that shares your Christian and conservative values. For decades, Croscom has been doing work in Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana, and Wisconsin. Roofs, siding, windows, doors, gutters, basically everything for your home or business, even solar. Quality work and professional services that make you feel great about your decision to work with Croscom.
Call Croscom.
630-871-5500. Give them a chance to earn your business. If your repairs are due to storm, fire, or flood damage, you need to
call Croscom.
They're licensed public adjusters. They work for you, not the insurance company. Croscom will work to get you the money you deserve, the maximum payout. They know the insurance companies and how to deal with them. They win for you.
Call Croscom.
Croscom Construction and Public Adjusters.
This is Dan Lights with Croscom. You can trust us with your home or business for high quality work and fair prices. It's the only way we do business.
630-871-5500. CroscomPublicAdjusters.com.
The holidays are here again, and it's really getting cold outside. It's time to snuggle up by the fireplace with a delicious mug full of Bob's Belgian hot chocolate. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Each sip is so rich, so luxurious, and oh so chocolatey. Bob makes his hot chocolate with 100% imported Belgian chocolate, and it's so easy to make. You just stir it into hot milk and voila! You just made yourself the best hot chocolate ever. You can buy Bob's Belgian hot chocolate mix and sticks online at bobsbelgianhotchocolate.com or visit us at Chris Kindle Markets at Daily Plaza, Wrigley, and Aurora. Come on out and join in on all of the holiday fun with visitors from all over the world. We can click our glasses and wish each other good cheer with a delicious mug full of Bob's Belgian hot chocolate. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Bob'sBelgianHotChocolate.com.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors, a third-generation family-owned business since 1969. We know you're bombarded by choices when shopping for new windows or doors, so we're inviting you to experience the Woodland difference. For decades, we have been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows, a fifth-generation family business. Marvin replacement windows have been known to increase the warmth of your cold rooms by 10 degrees. Think about that, 10 degrees warmer. When you welcome Woodland into your home, you will get a product expert to transform your living spaces, full-time, dedicated professional installers that you can trust in your home, along with the best products like Marvin. These are the reasons we're proud of our 5-star reviews and family legacy. No gimmicks, no pressure, and upfront pricing are why Woodland Windows and Doors is your trusted window and door expert in Chicagoland. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your free in-home expert consultation. That's woodlandwindows.com or stop by our showroom at the corner of Lake and Geary in Roselle.
Did you know a will alone does not keep your family out of court when you die? The court still has to approve your will, but get a living trust, and your estate can be settled clearly without issue. Talk to the attorneys at Naumann & Associates. They prepare wills and trusts for a flat fee, no surprises, no hourly rate. With decades of experience, they know the law and offer a free consultation. Contact Naumann & Associates in Elk Grove Village, nalawgroup.com. Call 847-593-8777.
Hear sound teaching from God's Word from Dr. David Jeremiah on Turning Point. Each weekday morning at 9:30 on our sister station, AM 1160. Hope for your life. Now, your official weather forecast.
Today, expect mostly cloudy skies with very cold temperatures, reaching a high of 24. Tonight will remain mostly cloudy, starting cold in the evening and becoming breezy late. The low will be 17, but the temperature will rise into the middle 20s. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. Ed Bambas. So we're going to start today with it's the holiday season, start today with a bit of an uplifting story. How about that? Ed Bambas is an 88-year-old U.S. Army veteran. And he lost his wife 7 years ago. 88-year-old U.S. War veteran, U.S. Army veteran, I meant to say. He is working 40 hours a week to make ends meet after retiring from General Motors in 1999. Retired 25 plus years ago, and at 88, he's working 40 hours a week. When GM went bankrupt in 2009, Bambas, along with nearly 20,000 others at the GM subsidiary Delphi, lost their pensions and retirement benefits. And so, how do we know about this? Well, somebody who knows Ed Bambas referred him to a social media influencer named Sam Weidenhofer. And Weidenhofer was so moved by the Bambas story that he set out from Michigan. I think he's from Australia. Set out to Michigan to meet him. And after he found him, he shared Ed's story on social media, including their meeting. Take a listen.
Just seeing if I could have help scanning this. Thank you. What was your name?
Ed.
I'm Sam.
Okay.
I actually had someone nominate you from this store and said you're very hardworking.
Well, I try to be.
May I ask how old you are?
I'm 88.
And still working?
Yes, I have to.
Why do you have to keep working?
Retired from General Motors in 99. 2012, they went bankrupt, and they took my pension away from me.
Oh, my gosh. Do you have a wife?
She passed away 7 years ago.
7 years ago?
She was sick when I lost my pension.
So you've been struggling a bit?
A little bit.
You said that you lost your pension?
Yes, sir, I did. I was in the Army back in 66.
So you're a veteran, too?
Yes. The thing that hurt me the most was my wife was real sick, and when they took the pension, they also took the health care coverage, and all but $10,000 of my life insurance.
Oh my gosh.
So I sold the house, sold the property I had, and we made it through. My wife died 7 years ago. Since then, I've been trying to reestablish myself.
And you're working here how many days a week?
I work 5 days a week, 8 hours a day.
And you do that because you have to, or?
Yeah, I don't have enough income.
What's your dream?
To live somewhat the life I was hoping for.
I'd like to share your story and try and, get people to help you retire.
Well, thank you.
Of course. You're amazing. I want to give you $400 here as a tip. Of course. You're amazing, man. Of course.
I don't know what to say. It goes a long way to help me.
Give you a hug?
Yeah, thank you.
Well, emotional initial meeting, particularly after having him recount the story and then providing him that $400, but that's not where it stopped. Essentially, Wiedenhofer set out to do a GoFundMe page, and it culminated just a few days ago with Wiedenhofer meeting up with Ed Bambas again and presenting a check for $1.7 million. So once this story went viral on social media, $1.7 million raised, one of the most successful GoFundMe fundraising efforts to date. So, social media influencers, there's a lot of negative things to say about so many of them, and most of that is justified, and all the downsides of social media that we discuss, but there's the upsides, too. It's just a communication channel, as I'm want to say, so you can funnel garbage through it, or you can use the power of it the way that Wiedenhofer did. And I don't know much about this guy other than what he did for Ed Bambas, but that's enough to know. Nice story this holiday season. I'm glad Ed Bambas doesn't have to work 40 hours a week, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, 40 hours a week anymore at the age of 88. Dan Proft, Chicago's Morning Answer.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Adult Beverage Solutions is looking for a brand ambassador in all areas for beverage sampling events. You have the ability to create your own schedule because most events take place Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays at local grocery stores and independent liquor stores. Flexible scheduling with the ability to choose events that you would like to work. Receive event pay weekly. State alcohol certification is mandatory for all ambassadors. Must be 21 years of age. Competitive pay with the opportunity to earn bonus for exceptional performance. Each event, you will provide consumers with product education while collecting consumer feedback. If you are interested, our team would like to connect with you about this opportunity. Please email us at careers.abstastings@gmail.com with your information and where you are located, and our team will be in touch soon. Or check us out online at adultbeveragesolutions.com/join-now. That's adultbeveragesolutions.com/join-now.
AM 560. The Answer.
Text from 773 in reaction to the Ed Bambas story. Will they be doing a charity-type case for all the City of Chicago employees when they go bankrupt, when the pensions sue? Yeah, well, look, as I always say, I mean, if you want to get political about this, people should keep the promises they make, even the bad ones, because people rely on those promises. That's what I've always said about the government pension system in Illinois. So you're not doing yourself, and more importantly, you're not doing public sector workers any favors by making promises you know you can't keep, which is exactly what the Illinois political class has done for generations. And when those pension funds do seize up, and Chicago Police and Fire are first up, yeah, I hope there'll be some remembrance of that. In addition to the fact that, defined benefit plans, basically all under the umbrella promises you knew you couldn't keep. The guarantees and the enhancements on those guarantees to buy votes, curry favor with government unions. Not to mention, the Bambas story, calls to mind all sorts of other things, too, in terms of, you want to talk about the safety net in this country. Ed Bambas, at 88, having lost his pension when Delphi went bankrupt 13 years ago, is working 40 hours a week, and we don't even have, people bristle at a work requirement for SNAP benefits. Well, how many hundreds of billions of dollars across, the country are we providing to people here illegally in terms of benefits? Meanwhile, Ed Bambas, a U.S. Army veteran, at 88, was working a full-time job to get by. Yeah, there's a lot of social commentary once you put the context around the Bambas story, isn't there? All right, coming up at 5:38, speaking of the entitlement mentality, we will be speaking about it. A little compare and contrast between two state legislators in Illinois that also frames the national conversation about these matters. That's 5:38. Now we check the headlines.
Good morning. It is a very chilly 21 degrees here in Chicago on AM 560 The Answer. I'm Stace Keene in the AM 560 newsroom. A Chicago police officer was shot in the chest early yesterday morning. That officer was wearing a protective vest, which likely saved his life. Officials say officers were called to the scene of a domestic disturbance in the area of South Duval Street. Upon arrival, officers found several people fighting. The officer was shot when one of the participants' guns discharged. The officer and an 18-year-old man were both hit. The 18-year-old suffered a second gunshot wound when a second officer returned fire, striking him inadvertently along with the suspect. All of the officers have been placed on 30-day administration duty as per standard protocol. And the annual Snowball Express loaded with Gold Star families headed to Disney World this weekend, courtesy of the Gary Sinise Foundation and American Airlines. More than 1,600 Gold Star families will be participating in the annual trip this year. This report is sponsored by Blindster.com. There's never been a better time to buy blinds. Save up to 50% site-wide during Blindster.com's Cyber Week sale going on now. Their blinds are custom-made and guaranteed to fit. Skip the big box stores and order online for less. The sale ends soon, so go to Blindster.com today. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now.
Get ready for a musical journey like no other when the Trans-Siberian Orchestra returns to Chicago on December 26th on their The Ghost of Christmas Eve 2025 tour. Enter to win tickets and the grand prize of a 75-inch TV, a home stereo system, and a $1,000 gift card. Enter today at 560theanswer.com/TSO.
Business owners, now's the time for your business to make the move to a locally owned business bank. Hi, Mike Gallagher here to let you know that you don't have to look far. Signature Bank was founded in Chicago with a simple mission to help companies like yours grow, succeed, and thrive. Their decisions are made locally by a terrific team that knows your name, cares about your business, and invests in your success. That's why Signature Bank is my bank. I'm a customer. As business owners, they knew that local family-owned businesses were not getting the help they needed or deserved. So I invite you to reach out to my friends at Signature Bank today. Write the number down. Remember this phone number, Signature Bank, 773-467-5630, and learn all about this great bank, 773-467-5630, or visit them online at signaturebank.bank. That's signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank makes commercial banking personal. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
So how long were you told you'd be on that medication you're taking? That's what I thought. Question, do you believe it's possible for you to be set free of the medication you're currently on? Or will you be stuck taking it forever, not to mention all of the side effects? Imagine what it would feel like to be drug-free. You know, the United States makes up less than 5% of the world's population, yet we use over 85% of the world's supply of medication. That's 95% of the world using 15% of the leftover medications, with over 53 other countries living longer than we do here in the United States today. So instead, let's help your body regain its health naturally. Begin your adventure in health with us today by calling our HealthQuest radio hotline and reserve your very own new patient strategy consultation with me. Call 800-794-1855. That's 800-794-1855. Oh, and listen to HealthQuest Radio with me, Dr. David Kolbaba, every Saturday morning at 11.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Today, expect mostly cloudy skies with very cold temperatures reaching a high of 24. Tonight will remain mostly cloudy with cold conditions early on, turning breezy later. The low will be 17, but temperatures will rise into the mid-20s. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. A tale of two state legislators. The comparison contrast in the context of this debate raging in our country about the entitlement mentality. manifests itself across a lot of different issues in a lot of different ways, but that's ultimately what it is. What do people deserve? And as I like to reference the late, great Uncle Milton Friedman, deserve. Who deserves what? We should be thankful we don't get what we deserve. State Representative Mana Abdi, she is of Somalian extraction. She's a state legislator in Maine. Here's what she had to say about coming to America, if you pardon my Eddie Murphy.
Anything. So coming into the States, everything from the snow to, the housing, the homes that we were all of a sudden occupying, everything was a shock, honestly. Every day was something new, and I'm like, oh my God, this is just getting worse. Yeah,
So what state did you guys land, first of all?
Kansas
City.
Of all places. Yeah, it was like a boot camp for Maine, basically.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's just like, right, anyone who lives in Maine knows Maine and has ever visited Kansas, they will know what I'm talking about. It's just a lot to deal with as a person of color, honestly, or a black person.
What's the matter with Kansas? Pardon my Thomas Frank. It's a lot to deal with if you're coming from heaven on earth like Somalia. A lot to deal with, especially for a person of color, because in Kansas, they're all racist crackers. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line and text line. It's a lot to deal with. I saw a recent world ranking, the best countries to live in the world. Somalia came in at 193 out of 197, just behind Eritrea, where there is substantial human slavery that still exists. I'm talking about in Eritrea. But I'm sure Somalia is coming for Eritrea, especially with all the ill-gotten gains from Minnesota that have been wired over. It's a lot to deal with as a person of color coming from Somalia and landing in Kansas until somehow she made her way to Maine and is now a 29-year-old elected politician in Maine. And for those who say, well, that entitlement mentality, that exists among Americans as well. Yeah, no, I know it does. It's a problem. But it's particularly obnoxious when it's somebody coming from a country that, as Trump has said, is barely a country and has nothing but grievances about this country. And, of course, falls right into all of the race-hustling, identitarian bilge. Now, compare and contrast that to this gentleman. He's a state representative from Ohio. His name is Josh Williams. He's running for Congress in Ohio in a seat held by Dem for 30 years, Marcy Kaptur. State legislator, Josh Williams, 41 years old. He's lived a bit of a life and his perspective on it.
I'm not the candidate most people would have expected to be here standing before you today. I was born right here in Toledo, Ohio. I'm a poor kid from the inner city. We didn't have the luxury of dreaming of a better tomorrow because my family was just concentrating on surviving each day. And at just 5 years old, my dad died from cancer. And I was left to be raised by a strong, single mother. And she did an amazing job raising me, but at the age of 18, I dropped out of high school when I became homeless. Soon after, I found out the mother of my son was pregnant. So I went and I found work. Good, hard, honest work at the railroad. And right when I thought life was gonna get brighter, it all came crashing down. I fell 30 feet off the side of a train in Toledo and destroyed my spine. In just 6 months, I had 2 major back surgeries. For several years, I laid in that bed in the inner city of Toledo. And I lost hope. And I gave up. And I sat on the edge of my bed and I was ready to end it all. And in that moment, my 3-year-old son Matthew walked in, I was getting ready to put my kid in the same situation that I was raised in, without a father, in poverty, and without direction. And I begged God for forgiveness. I said, if you show me the way, I promise I will put in the hard work to dig myself out of this bed and dig myself out of poverty. And oh my God, did he start working miracles in my life. And at the age of 30 years old, I enrolled at the University of Toledo as a freshman. And at the age of 35, I was graduating from law school. You can tell just how scared the Democrats are of my candidacy. I know I'm ready to fight. I was born to be a fighter. With your support, I will be the next congressman from the Ohio Congressional 9th District. God bless America.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. Tough to be a person of color in Kansas from Somalia. It's like a boot camp, says the Honorable Representative Abdi in Maine from Somalia. Josh Williams, who is a black gentleman, grew up in some difficult circumstances, made some unwise choices, dropping out of school, having a kid before you're married. Remember the formula, you want to have about a 99% chance of never living in poverty. Graduate high school, don't commit any crimes, get a job, any job, start working, and don't have children before you're married. That's the expectation. Well, it's not the expectation. That's the path. 99% chance of being self-sufficient for life. Is that too much to ask of a free citizen? I don't think so. And to the extent that you don't make those choices, do you take the approach of what I deserve, like Representative Abdi, or do you take the approach of what I need to do to get right, like Representative Williams did? A tale of two state legislators, two people of color. It seems to me like this whole entitlement mentality is something that needs to be addressed. This is sort of the premise of all of the bad policy choices and the bad outcomes. It needs to be attacked straight away. And frankly, if it's so bad, I mean, I hate to jump on this crowd because you're an American citizen. You're allowed to think idiotic things. You're allowed, of course, to criticize your government. You're allowed to criticize your country. You're allowed to say, I wish I was in Denmark as opposed to America. But, when you're a state legislator like you are in Maine, obviously there's an electorate that has to take corrective action if they are enlightened enough to do so. But boy, if you color outside the lines at all, promises made kind of thing, somehow the good Representative Abdi apparently became a citizen. Okay, you went through the process. Maybe that process needs a bit of re-examination, but you color outside the lines at all? And perhaps somebody needs to be made an example of when it comes to the denaturalization of the naturalized. I'm not saying Miss Abdi necessarily, but I'm just saying getting at the root of this entitlement mentality. It's one thing to deal with American citizens and also naturalized citizens. But those who have a tenuous grasp on status in this country. Jim in LaGrange.
Hey, Dan, good morning. I think you have this one completely wrong. I think that she is fitting in and assimilating perfectly into American culture. Give me the pool, give me the house, give me this. I want to live in Florida. Just call her Representative Spalding from now on, Dan. Thanks. Have a good day.
Yeah, right. Thanks for the call, Jim. Representative Spalding. Well, I mean, Pritzker is Governor Spalding, too. Never did anything, just living off the largesse of Judge Schmales. But, yeah, I take your point. George in Naperville.
Yes, Dan. I think the Somalians need to click their ruby slippers and repeat, "There's no place like home."
Thanks for the call, George. A nice Kansas reference. So that follows to an update on the situation with the fraud in Somalia. I mean, the fraud that was committed from within the Somali community in what was formerly Minneapolis, Minnesota. This is getting bigger now that more people are paying attention. And again, a lot of the thanks for this is the work of Powerline Blog, our friend John Hinderaker, Scott Johnson and company, who did this investigative work long before it gained the attention of, say, the New York Times, which is just in recent weeks. They've been on this case for 5 years, particularly with a couple of the more expansive fraud rings. This is what Stephen Miller had to say about the fraud committed by those from the Somali community in what was formerly Minneapolis.
Based on what we have found so far, we believe that the Somali fraud operation in Minnesota is the single greatest theft of taxpayer dollars through welfare fraud in American history. We believe that we have only scratched the very top of the surface of how deep this goes. And you're familiar with all the scams with pretending that children have autism who are not in fact autistic, with pretending to enroll people in food programs when in fact nobody was ever enrolled, and engaging in massive fraud, lying, and theft and grift on a scale we've never seen before in American history. The total bill, the total tab for this is going to be far beyond the numbers we've already seen reported. We believe the state government is fully complicit in this scheme, and we believe that what we are going to uncover is going to shock the American people. Look, based on the records that we already have, and this is a significant undercount, by the way, 75% of the Somali population in Minnesota is on welfare. But that's likely a significant undercount of just how much of a financial burden the Somali refugee population is imposing on this country.
In addition to that, we've got some new developments. Some new pictures have surfaced. A picture of one of these Somali fraudsters with the good governor there, Field Marshal Tim, the Brotherly Spice Representative Omar of the Socialist Spice Girls. Fox News reporting over the weekend.
All right, this news just breaking moments ago. Fox News has obtained photos of one of the Somali illegal immigrants wrapped up in the Minnesota fraud scandal, posing with several high-profile Minnesota Democrats, including Congresswoman Ilhan Omar and Governor Tim Walz. The man pictured is Abdul Dahir Ibrahim. He entered the country in 2000 and has had an order for removal since 2004. He also has a prior conviction in Canada for asylum and welfare fraud. ICE tells Fox News Ibrahim was granted temporary protected status for 10 years, but should have never been eligible.
Yeah, since he was a convicted fraudster in Canada. Speaking of vetting, maybe it's not possible to fully vet, but it's possible to somewhat vet, to do a better job of vetting than was done here when you're talking about Canada. The Canadians do have records that are accessible if you did something like, criminal background check before you confer temporary protected status. But this is the conversation we started having last week. It's not about individual Somalians who seek entrance into this country. That, if you did it at that level, so you could distinguish between the Ilhan Omars or the Abdis, the representative from Maine, from the Ayaan Hirsi Alis. But when you do, mass parole, mass TPS, the issue of mass migration from not limited to, but including unstable third world Muslim theocracies or dictatorships or countries that are incubators of Islamist terrorism, then you get what you're getting in Mogadishu, Minnesota, or to a lesser extent, Dearborn, Michigan, at least a lesser extent on the fraud piece of it, so far as we know to this point. And this is prompting a wider-ranging investigation now at the federal level, since we have no confidence that state and locals will do anything about it. We also find that these individuals, like the one pictured with Walz and Omar, are donors to these politicians, include the Attorney General there, the chief law enforcement officer in Minnesota, Keith Ellison, who's also an Islamist sympathizer. And remember that open letter that some 200 plus state workers in the Department of Human Services offered up last week. Tim Walz is directly responsible. They sidelined and silenced whistleblowers. They were willfully blind when there were state employees raising the alarm on the commission of fraud there. Didn't want to know. Didn't want to deal with it. So again, the accountability mechanism is the electorate. And I suppose if Minnesotans want to disintegrate their state at the hands of foreign interlopers, then that's their right as Americans to some extent, particularly if the federal government over the top is not going to enforce immigration law. That's not the case with this administration. But if they want to codify the terrible public policy choices that you give them the opportunity that were made by the last administration, then I suppose that's their right. Let them be a cautionary tale. Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, on Face the Nation yesterday, talking to the insufferably ignorant Margie Brennan. Listen to the end of this. Bessent talking about the investigation, or the aspect of the investigation he's writing point on as the overseer of the IRS at Treasury.
What exactly are you investigating?
Well, Margaret, to be clear, the initial fraud that was discovered by the IRS, for which I'm the acting commissioner, is discovered by IRS Criminal Investigations Unit. This was not an endogenous thing that the state of Minnesota decided we had to go in and clean up the mess for them, and this is part of the continued cleanup. A lot of money has been transferred from the individuals who committed this fraud, including those who donated to the governor, donated to Representative Omar, and donated to A.G. Ellison. But they've been transferred to something called MBSs. And those are...
Mortgage-backed security? What do you mean?
Sorry?
Transferred to what?
These are money the Bureau services, and they are wire transfer organizations that are outside the regulated banking system. And that money has gone overseas. And we are tracking that both to the Middle East and to Somalia to see what the uses of that have been.
Okay, but you have no evidence of that money being used to fuel terrorism at this point, which is what some conservative writers are alleging.
That's why it's an investigation. We started it last week. We'll see where it goes. But I can tell you that, it's terrible. Representative Omar tried to downplay it, said, it was very, it was very tough to know how this money should be used. Yeah. She was gaslighting the American people.
Well, we'll talk to her.
Yeah, but when you come to this country, you got to learn which side of the road to drive on. You got to learn to stop at stop signs, and you got to learn not to defraud the American people.
Well, there are plenty of criminal behavior from communities well beyond the immigrant community.
There's plenty of criminal behavior from communities well beyond the immigrant community. Yes, that's true. This is akin to the American citizens commit crimes too. Yes, that's true. I'm sorry, what's your point? Let me see if I can follow the logic of Margaret Brennan, esteemed vice presidential debate moderator, in addition to somebody we're supposed to take seriously because she talks with that newswoman voice and asks idiotic questions and displays her ignorance on a weekly basis. But she talks with that, deep newswoman voice. She's serious. She's a dogged reporter. She's a dingbat is what she is. The logic of what she just said is the same logic of American citizens commit crimes too, and we're going to argue about who commits crimes at a higher incidence. Why would we want to import any person or persons who commit crimes? Somebody just explain that to me. If every American citizen committed a crime, the response should be as long as the population we're importing commits crime at a lesser rate than American citizens, that's a net value add. What kind of sense does that make? Which is why you don't do things in mass. You have to do them individually. And that's more painstaking. Particularly now that we have opened Pandora's box when it comes to immigration. We'll pick this up on the other side and fold in, another symptom of Western civilization's decline, and that is on the free speech front. Trump is a bulwark against it in this country right now, but he's not going to be here forever. It's now 6 o'clock on AM 560 WIND Chicago.
Not ready to make nice. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. President Trump says he's a little disappointed that Ukraine's President Zelensky hasn't even read a U.S.-backed proposal for peace with Russia and that he's just not ready for it. Zelensky's in London today to meet with leaders from the UK, France, and Germany.
Volodymyr Zelensky's European allies want to put Ukraine in a stronger position as peace efforts continue. He says talks will focus on security, air defence, and long-term funding for the Ukrainian war effort. European leaders fear Russia coming out of this conflict in too strong a position, and because they suspect Moscow won't be satisfied by a ceasefire, want any agreement to be backed by security guarantees from Washington as well as their own countries. US and Ukrainian negotiators completed 3 days of talks on Saturday aimed at narrowing gaps on the Trump administration's peace plan. Jonathan Savage, Fox News.
The top Democrat on the House Armed Services Committee wants the public to see video of a second strike on a drug smuggling boat in September, killing 2 survivors of the initial strike.
It was deeply disturbing. It did not appear that these 2 survivors were in any position to continue the fight.
Washington State House Democrat Adam Smith on ABC's This Week. Arkansas Republican Tom Cotton chairs the Senate Intelligence Committee.
It was entirely appropriate to strike the boat again to make sure that its cargo was destroyed. It is in no way violation of the law of war.
He was on NBC's Meet the Press. The Supreme Court today takes up a challenge to President Trump firing Federal Trade Commissioner Rebecca Slaughter.
The Trump administration argues Article 2 of the Constitution gives him the power to remove executive branch officers. They want the court to reconsider the legality of the removal clause, arguing the power to control executive officers naturally includes the ability to remove them at will.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. The court ruled in 1935 that FTC commissioners can only be fired for cause. America's listening to Fox News.
Good morning. It is 20 degrees here in Chicago on AM 560, The Answer. I'm Stace Keene in the AM 560 newsroom. 7 people were treated for chemical exposure following an immigration operation in Elgin on Saturday. According to reports, police responded to a call of possible shots fired in the 1600 block of South Maple. Officers determined that there were no shots fired. However, they did discover that federal agents had dispersed tear gas and pepper spray at a crowd of people. Elgin police issued a statement on social media regarding their involvement, saying the department, quote, will continue to respond to any calls for service and determine the appropriate action within the parameters of the Illinois Trust Act, which prohibits Elgin officers from assisting with federal immigration enforcement operations. A woman is dead following a head-on collision with a U.S. Postal Service truck yesterday on Manheim Lane in Des Plaines. According to reports, 65-year-old Lori Jensen of Mount Prospect was killed after the post office vehicle drifted into her lane and hit her vehicle. The Postal Service driver reportedly told officers that he'd lost control of his Postal Service van. The 48-year-old driver was transported to the hospital for treatment. He was cited for the accident and is due in court next month. Yesterday's snowstorm caused yet another ground stop at O'Hare International Airport. Heavy snow and ice prompted the delay of hundreds of flights yesterday. Chicago's Midway International Airport was running on schedule. And AT&T says they're planning on ending landline service here in Illinois. Officials with the phone company say they're phasing out the service as they upgrade their service to a digital phone line service. Existing AT&T landline clients can keep those phone lines until 2027. AT&T says customers will not lose their phone service or 911 service. This report is a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Think full mouth dental implants are too expensive? Think again, not at AlmostFreeTeeth.com. With medical insurance, you could save thousands and receive your finally affordable dream smile. Check if you qualify today at AlmostFreeTeeth.com. A check of the roads is coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
Get ready for a musical journey like no other when the Trans-Siberian Orchestra returns to Chicago on December 26th on their The Ghost of Christmas Eve 2025 tour. Enter to win tickets and the grand prize of a 75-inch TV, a home stereo system, and a $1,000 gift card. Enter today at 560theanswer.com/TSO.
Hello, this is Alistair Begg. In September of 2026, I'll be teaching the Bible as we cruise through the Norwegian fjords. I'd love for you to join me. Call 855-565-5519 or visit deeperfaithcruise.com.
Dan Proft here to tell you about our 2025 Food for the Poor campaign. If you've listened to this station and to our show for any length of time, then you already know about Food for the Poor. They are a nonprofit, faith-based organization that provides food, water, medicine, clothing, and life-saving supplies directly to local partners in Latin America and the Caribbean. We all know about how bad the situation is in Latin America and the Caribbean right now. Economic decline, political instability and corruption, and high food prices. The only thing standing between these families and starvation is Food for the Poor and their partners who are providing life-saving food relief on the ground. But in order to get food and water to those who need it most, Food for the Poor needs your help. Your gift of just $150 can provide food and water for 2 children for an entire year. For a gift of $300, you can provide food and water for 4 children for an entire year. To make a gift of any amount, just call 844-862-4673. That's 844-862-4673. Or visit 560theanswer.com/foodforthepoor.
The Tunnel to Towers Foundation honors America's heroes. Heroes like Josh Bischoff. Josh began his firefighting career as a volunteer and ultimately became CAL FIRE's Assistant Chief of Tactical Air Operations until tragedy struck and he was killed in a helicopter collision while fighting a California wildfire. He leaves behind his wife Cheryl and their 2 children, Derek and Juliana. The Tunnel to Towers Foundation paid the Bischoff family's mortgage. Support heroes like Josh and their families. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org.
Progressive presents Employee of the Month. Small Business Edition. Today's recipient from Lucky Larry's Landscaping, Larry! Larry saved his business money with a quick commercial auto quote from Progressive. Does it help he's his own marketing manager, accountant, executive assistant, and never been late? Technically, yes, but saving really put him over the edge. So, Larry, give Larry a round of applause. Be your own Larry. See if you could save in as little as 8 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
The biggest time of the year for stores is during the Christmas season. And if you deal in collector coins, the main source for inventory is from people like you. We want to have our showcases fully stocked before Christmas. Last Christmas, gold was the highest ever recorded in its 5,000-year run. We don't always know if precious metals will go up or down. We're saying that if you don't appreciate that collection Grandpa left, you may want to at least find out what you can get for it. Fox Valley Coins is the trusted place where people come to buy and sell their precious metals, rare coins, and paper money. We're especially interested in purchasing now through the first week of December. And we'll still be buying after we get back from the Christmas break, but we need to purchase now. Fox Valley Coins is located 1 light north of I-88 on Route 59 on the Naperville-Warrenville border. We'll be closed Christmas Eve through Monday, January 4th, celebrating Jesus' birth with family and for year-end inventory. Merry Christmas from Fox Valley Coins. Family-owned, integrity since 1981. FoxValleyCoins.com.
Sign up for the AM 560 Answer Advantage to get early alerts on event ticket sales, special discounts, and contest opportunities. Sign up today at 560theanswer.com/advantage.
Taking a look at the roads from the Team Hotberg Traffic Center, I'm Sue Aller. Not a bad start to the morning, just 14 minutes both ways on the Eden from Lake Cook to Montrose. The Kennedy inbound from O'Hare to the Byrne interchange also looks good. Inbound is 17 minutes, outbound is 23. A little bit sluggish on the Eisenhower inbound right at Mannheim Road. This is all because of a collision off on the right shoulder, but it's only 14 minutes in both directions from Wolf to the Old Post Office. Inbound Stevenson from the Tri-State to Lakeshore is 20 minutes, outbound is 17. The Dan Ryan inbound from 95th to the Byrne interchange is 14 minutes, outbound is 11. A slight brake check in the express lanes approaching the Stevenson, and in Logan Square, watch out for an accident investigation. Diversity Avenue is shut down both ways at Hamlin Avenue. This report is a service of Fox Valley Coins, currently buying all gold and silver bars and coins, silver dollars, rare date proof, and mini sets. Visit foxvalleycoins.com. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now a check of your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Today, expect mostly cloudy skies with very cold temperatures reaching a high of 24. Tonight will remain mostly cloudy with cold conditions early on, turning breezy later. The low will be 17, but temperatures will rise into the mid-20s. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. Over the weekend, J.P. Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon addressed the Reagan National Defense Forum. The focus of his remarks was Europe, because Europe has a real problem. Problems, I would say, plural, but that's what Jamie Dimon said. They do some wonderful things on their safety nets, but they've driven business out, they've driven investment out, they've driven innovation out. It's kind of coming back. Dimon continued, if they fragment, then you can say that America First will not be around anymore. It will hurt us more than anybody else because they are a major ally in every single way, including common values, which are really important. We need a long-term strategy to help them become strong. A weak Europe is bad for us. I don't disagree a weak Europe is bad for us. But we have common values? Do we? Do we have common values? They believe in free minds and free markets and a free society, and free societies, plural. Really? The manifest weight of the evidence suggests otherwise. A long-term strategy to help them become strong? Actually, Trump and J.D. Vance have been pointing the way for them to become strong. And it is to shed the multicultural open borders policies they pursued for the better part of the last 3 decades. It is to stop silencing dissent. These Orwellian commissions and commissars that are imprisoning people over improper pronoun usage. Sclerotic welfare states. Most of them have become. They have been lectured to, and I understand, America is in no position to lecture us. Well, sort of, we are. And we need to abide our own advice, too, a little bit more closely. But they have been told what to do. We all know how to make Western Europe generally strong. It's basically to reverse course on what a lot of them have been doing since the EU was formed. And by the way, as I said in the tease before the top of the hour, to think that we're not down that path that Britain and France, Germany have gone, is to ignore reality, is to say, well, since Trump won, things are so much better, so I don't remember 5 minutes ago when it was Biden and company running the show. I don't remember the kind of statements that their national candidates made about our God-given rights. Remember Tim Walz? He was a nominee for Vice President of the United States. This guy.
I think we need to push back on this. There's no guarantee to free speech on misinformation or hate speech, and especially around our democracy.
Well, that's exactly the approach that has people going to prison in the UK for improper pronoun usage, for a transphobic slight, as so defined by the state, that has the German chancellor demanding arrest warrants for German citizens who are critical of his policies. And you want to call these places Western democracies? Our common values? Maybe common with the neo-Marxist left, as exemplified by Tim Walz there, but not with a free society, not our common values in terms of the philosophy upon which this country is founded, and which provided the path for it to rise as it has. Those Western European small d democracies aren't democracies, and neither is the EU. It's decoration. You know what it's like? It's like calling Notre Dame a Catholic school. This is small d democracy as ornamentation. Sans the substance. And that's what should be noted. And that's what we should be talking about when it pertains to Europe's demise or Europe's path back to strength, because a strong Europe is in our nation's best interest. And I agree that it is, but you have to identify what is if you're going to be honest about the path back to strength. You have to identify the weaknesses if you want to reestablish strength, don't you? Mario Nawfal was a popular podcaster. I think, in fact, he's got the largest show on X. He's a big crypto guy, too. But anyway, he has a good riff on this. The EU isn't a democracy. It's a bureaucratic coup in slow motion. They tell you to vote. They give you a shiny ballot for the European Parliament and call it democracy in scare quotes. But here's the truth Brussels doesn't want you to know. Your vote doesn't control anything that matters. The European Parliament, the only part of the EU you actually elect, can't initiate laws. It can't repeal them. It can only tinker around the edges or rubber stamp whatever comes down from the European Commission, an unelected body of bureaucrats appointed behind closed doors that acts as the true executive power for the EU. You don't vote for Ursula von der Leyen. You don't vote for her commissioners. Yet they decide everything: borders, migration, digital IDs, green policy, censorship laws, and how many billions to send to Ukraine. The parliament you vote for can't even propose a law on protecting children, regulating media, or stopping mass migration unless the commission allows it. That's not democracy. That's a managed illusion. The EU is built to neuter national sovereignty and transfer power from citizens to a self-perpetuating elite. It succeeded. Now it rules over 450 million people with the appearance of representation, but none of the substance. Ask yourself, if you can't vote them out, if you can't change the direction, if your parliament can't legislate without permission, is that really a democracy or just tyranny with better branding? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. And let's talk about that tyranny. I mean, what's this specific to EU, but it exists in Canada, and there is great desire for it to exist here. One example I just played. And by the way, there are other manifestations of that happening in this country. One of the things is that you saw over the weekend, the end of last week, that the EU, democracy, imposed a $140 million fine on X for breaches of the Europe's Digital Services Act, which is a stumbling block to trade deals. And I'm glad, in this case, that the Trump administration has made a big issue of this. It's the first time Brussels has enforced the law in this way since it came into force in 2022. They argue that that X's system, Elon Musk's X, formerly Twitter, system for verification of blue check marks negatively affects users' ability to make free and informed decisions about the authenticity of the accounts and the content they interact with. Brussels insists X must make data about advertising on the platform readily available to outsiders, shouldn't use its terms of service to prohibit data scraping by eligible researchers, whoever they are, as defined by the EU, of course, and that open access to X's commercial data is vital to allow researchers and civil society, quote unquote, to spot scams and information warfare. They're just protecting you from the vagaries and dangers of a free people communicating freely, making their own determinations. That's what the elite are there for, to tell us. Even the Wall Street Journal arguing Musk and the Trump administration describe this regulatory case as a form of censorship. It's hard to disagree. It's impossible to disagree. It's exactly what it is. The Wall Street Journal, Europe can't afford any of this. Not the censorship of Europeans' own political speech, not the diplomatic battle with Washington, not the war on economically vital data and technology. Earth to Brussels, are you awake? Well, they're woke. And therein lies the problem and the difference. Some high-profile cases, too, to take notice of. What's the path? What's the path? We can't have a weak Europe. Uh-huh. Okay. And so? The case of Elizabeth Kinney in the UK. Elizabeth Kinney, mom of four, arrested for a hate crime for texting a gay slur after she was attacked by a dude. Take a listen to the backstory here. Our common values with the UK.
I was assaulted by a male acquaintance. And
physically or sexually?
Physically.
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 Morgan Show.
It wasn't my ex-partner. It was a friend, okay. Like a group of friends. The female acquaintance that basically, she basically was getting jealous over me because she started seeing my ex-partner. So she was trying to cause trouble for me, which ended up resulting in me getting attacked. After that, obviously, I went to the hospital and I sent her messages and pictures of my injuries, just to prove like what she'd caused. And obviously, I was very upset at the time. I'd had a inflammation on my brain. I had a skull fracture, which made me not really feel like myself at the time. I was very upset and I was very angry with what had happened to me, which made me say messages that I really wouldn't have said.
So you sent her a load of messages. I mean, would you categorize them as abusive, highly abusive?
It was more just to pointing to the fact that what had happened to me. I only just sent her pictures of my injuries, and obviously said why would you cause this much trouble for me and stuff, and make up lies, and which now resulted in me being attacked. And
she then reported you.
Yeah.
For what she said were harassing messages.
Yeah, it was a 5-minute period of time when I just...
How did you feel when the police contacted you?
Well, I was shocked.
So she gets sexually assaulted by a dude that her friend set her up with. She texts her friend who set her up with the dude that assaulted her and uses the F word to describe him. a gay slur. And then this happens.
I've heard 11 police officers turned up.
Yeah.
I mean, that's completely ridiculous.
Yeah, I'd left my front door open. I was waiting for my dad to come to the house. I was actually in the bath. And
11
they opened the door themselves.
And just came in?
And came in.
And you were in the bath?
Yeah.
And what did they say to you?
Well, I heard my name, which was one female out of the lot of them.
And 10 male officers?
Yeah. And then I heard my name, and I thought, it might be my sister, because it didn't sound like someone who was... Because obviously I was upstairs in the bath. And then they just come up the stairs, and they didn't give me any privacy or anything. Like I had
You were naked?
Yes.
How did that make you feel?
Disgusted and really upset. I was crying my eyes out.
And what did they say to you? What did they say they were there for?
Well, I was just asking them, can they just leave the female officer, and can they please go downstairs, as obviously I was upset and I had no clothes on, and they kind of wanted to watch me get changed, and I was very upset about that. In the end, they did send the males down the stairs, and the female officer sat with me. I was crying my eyes out. I was really upset. And then I said, well, what are you even here for? Because I was shocked. I was in utter shock. And she said, for malicious communications, hate crime and malicious communications. And I said, well, what for? And they said, we'll discuss that when we get to the police station.
Common values. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. Sarah Rogers is an Undersecretary of State for Diplomacy, Public Diplomacy. She was over in the UK recently and did a interview with GBN saying this about censorship in the UK, soft-pedaling the problem there. But it's unmistakable why she was there.
I was Undersecretary of State for Public Diplomacy. I oversee America's diplomatic engagement with foreign publics, including the online public. And I'm in the United Kingdom because our two countries share great foundational freedoms that helped shape the post-war order to our benefit, that helped defeat communism to our benefit, and that birthed the system of self-government we enjoy. But those freedoms are in danger now because of a temptation to censor the internet. And I'm here to speak against that and to urge Brits, whom I know share America's fundamental desire to be a free society, to join us in that and help welcome new technology in a way that innovates through the current problems we're seeing in the communications sphere, rather than trying to put that innovation back in the bottle and censor everything.
Yeah, well, they're not listening. Not only do we have the censorship on the order of the hit on Elon Musk and X on Friday, you have thousands of people who've been arrested in the UK for speech crimes, including victims of real crimes like Miss Kinney. Well, that's in the UK, Dan. That can't happen here. Really? Did you see that case out of Portland? Portland jury clears black man of assault because white man he stabbed had then said the N-word. Black man acquitted of stabbing a white man in Oregon after he claimed the attack was self-defense because the victim called him a racial slur. That's a pretty weak tea to stab someone, but especially when you hear the details in this case. The assailant, the stabber, homeless, has a previous assault conviction, admitted to knifing the victim, the honky, claimed it was self-defense because the man called him the N-word. The problem is that the stabbee used the N-word after he was stabbed. So even if you want to make inflamed racial passions, and he was afraid because the man was aggressive towards him and used the N-word like he was going to attack. That's not what happened. He stabbed him, and I'm not defending the use of a racial slur, but I am in terms of that is no justification to stab someone, particularly because you had no idea what he was going to say because he said it after he was stabbed. So how could that be self-defense? How could that be the basis you, quote unquote, defended yourselves by stabbing an unarmed man? It's remarkable. The prosecutor in the case told the jury it didn't matter what the victim said after he was stabbed. The defendant is not scared for his life. He didn't retreat. He sauntered up. He sauntered away after he stabbed someone. The defendant created the situation. And the jury found him not guilty. Not guilty by reason of being black and stabbing a white guy who used an inappropriate word after he was stabbed. You think that's a big jump in places like Portland to the sort of regime that governs free thinking and free speaking in the UK? Or Germany? Or those Western European countries that share our values, we're told? As I said, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz has filed hundreds of criminal complaints against members of the public for insulting him. He's a politician. He's the chancellor. He's filing criminal complaints against his constituents. This is a German outlet that did all of the research, characterizing him as one of the most sensitive politicians in history. Well, it's a little bit worse than that. He is filing criminal complaints against citizens for calling him names such as little Nazi, a-hole, filthy drunk, among other things. Our common values. Dan in Salem, Wisconsin.
Hi, Dan. This is Honky Daniel.
Yes.
But anyway, I was going to say, in the World Book Encyclopedias, I read it about 35 years ago about Germany, and it said that Hitler, when he became chancellor, he abolished the German Constitution, and he imprisoned or killed people that opposed Hitler. So, out of all the people who would be doing exactly what Hitler did, it should not be the Europeans because of what the tyranny they suffered under Hitler. They should be running from what his example was,
Well, this is my point, and yet they're running right towards it, not only with the enforcement of speech and thought crimes. And I do say thought crimes because, remember, we brought you this case, somebody who was arrested for silent prayer outside an abortion mill in the UK. Silent prayer. But they could tell he was praying, and they know that he's a pro-lifer. So it's time to put the cuffs on. They're also seeking to eliminate jury trials in the UK. They're torching the Magna Carta. Under the proposal, cases where the maximum sentence is 5 years would generally be heard without juries. And so, in the interest of efficiency and so on and so forth. Right. Without juries. So you're going to have an emissary of the state, that would be a judge, adjudicating cases where Elizabeth Kinney is brought before the court for the quote-unquote hate crime. And there's no opportunity for the citizenry of Britain to intervene on behalf of people who, thousands, they already number in the thousands. No opportunity for British citizens to intervene and say no. We're not punishing people for their thoughts and their words. No. Shared values. Strong Europe. What's the path? We need to figure out a way to make Europe strong again. Well, that seems to me like it's up to the people of Europe. You're not going to be able to impose a common sense counter-revolution against these commissars from the outside. So we should start raising our voices, and also in the process sending a message to the Tim Wallses of the world and to the residents of Portland and all sorts of other enclaves and politicos around the country that you will not go down the path of Western Europe without a fight from us. We're not going to let it happen. Because it's afoot. It has been for a long time. And that's how these things happen. You don't wake up one day. It's a process that you watch and you report incidents and you see structural changes to people's ability to think and speak freely. Whether it's hate crime laws, censorship online, elimination of jury trials. You know the path you're on if you're paying attention to the surroundings. And that's the path the West is on right now. Everywhere, including pockets in this country. God help us if politicians like Tim Walz are ascendant in 26 and 28. Let's check the headlines.
Good morning. It is 21 degrees here in Chicago on AM 560, The Answer. I'm Stace Keene in the AM 560 newsroom. A woman has died following a crash in Logan Square early this morning. According to reports, 2 women were in a vehicle when the driver lost control and struck a parked car, then slid across the road and struck the back of a semi-truck. One of the 2 women was ejected from the vehicle and pronounced dead at the scene. The driver was transported to the hospital where she was listed in good condition. The truck driver declined treatment. Tenants who live in the building, now infamous for that ice raid, will be in court today asking for a judge to give them more time to find housing. According to reports, that building is currently in foreclosure and the tenants are facing eviction and have until Friday to leave. The tenants are asking for a 2-month extension in order to have more time to find suitable housing. And yesterday's snowstorm caused yet another ground stop at O'Hare International Airport. Heavy snow and ice prompted the delay of hundreds of flights. Chicago's Midway International Airport ran on schedule. This report is a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Think full mouth dental implants are too expensive? Think again, not at AlmostFreeTeeth.com. With medical insurance, you could save thousands and receive your finally affordable dream smile. Check if you qualify today at AlmostFreeTeeth.com. A check of the roads is coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560, The Answer.
Would you like to have your mortgage or rent paid for all of 2026? That sounds like a Christmas miracle, doesn't it?
This is what Christmas is all about.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what AM 560 The Answer wants to do for you. Go to 560theanswer.com/miracle to enter our Christmas Mortgage Miracle Contest. Enter once per day, every day, between now and December 20th. You can have your rent or mortgage paid for all of next year.
It's a Christmas miracle.
Nice. Go to 560theanswer.com/miracle.
Want to see if you could pay less in taxes? Try the quick and easy tax calculator at willsave.com. Yes, a free tax calculator. That's WILSAVE.com. Calculate how you could keep more of your hard-earned money and give less to Uncle Sam, especially in retirement. Get your free tax analysis today at willsave.com. And don't forget to tune in to Protecting Your Assets with Steve Shyman every Saturday morning at 8, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
If a Lenovo computer for your business is on your holiday list, don't shop around. Just go directly to the source, Lenovo.com. It's your last chance to get exclusive deals on the PCs you want for your business, like the ThinkPad X9 14 Aura Edition and Yoga 7i 2-in-1. So avoid all that shopping chaos and price comparing, and just go directly to the source, Lenovo.com, where PCs are up to 35% off. That's Lenovo.com.
Lenovo. If you're one of the millions of Americans behind on your taxes, if you're afraid to open your mail because IRS collection letters could be coming, listen carefully. The IRS is cracking down, taking paychecks, freezing bank accounts, revoking passports. That's a fact. But here's what most people don't know. There are official tax relief programs designed to help struggling taxpayers. Programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief. Optima's award-winning team will fight to protect your paycheck, your passport, and your property. Their tax attorneys and licensed tax professionals will work tirelessly to get you the best deal possible with the IRS. Every day, penalties and interest keep piling up, so don't wait. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
This past year has been one of the hardest in MyPillow's history. It's because of you that they are making it through. They want to thank you for your continued support by passing on some Christmas specials to our listeners. Get the Children's Bible Story Pillow 5-pack for $29.98. My Slippers with a free bottle of leather protectant spray for $39.98. Blankets, comforters, and duvets for as low as $25, and a blowout sale on the standard MyPillows for just $14.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY to take advantage of these wholesale prices, including the standard size MyPillow, originally $49.98, now only $14.98. Queens, $18.99. Kings, only $1 more. 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY. We know MyPillow products come with a 10-year warranty, but MyPillow has just announced that they are extending their 60-day money-back guarantee. That's right. Orders placed between now and December 25th will have their 60-day money-back guarantee extended through March 1st, 2026. Promo code LIBERTY.
Check off the wish list with instant savings and free battery offers on select Steel tools. Shop online or in store.
Taking a look at the roads from the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Sue Aller. Still slow on the inbound Eden into Laramie Avenue, but an accident just cleared away. So it's 24 minutes inbound from Wolf to the old post office. Outbound is 14. No major slowdowns on the Eden at all. Just 14 minutes both ways from Lake Cook to Montrose. The Kennedy inbound from O'Hare to the Byrne Interchange also looking good. 18 minutes. Outbound is 22. The Stevenson from the Tri-State to Lakeshore is 22 minutes. Outbound is 16. The Dan Ryan looks good. Inbound from 95th to the Byrne Interchange, 15 minutes. Outbound is 11. A little bit sluggish in the express lanes approaching the Stevenson. This report is sponsored by Blindster.com. There's never been a better time to buy blinds. Save up to 50% statewide during Blindster.com's Cyber Week sale going on now. Their blinds are custom made and guaranteed to fit. Skip the big box stores and order online for less. The sale ends soon, so go to Blindster.com today. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now a check of your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Today, expect mostly cloudy skies with very cold temperatures, reaching a high of 24. Tonight will remain mostly cloudy, starting cold in the evening and becoming breezy late. The low will be 17, but the temperature will rise into the middle 20s. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
Time now for another reason why Dan Proft is single.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. A couple more reasons to add to the list. One can simply be summarized by the phrase, Cougars for Luigi Mangione. Do I really need to go into more detail there? Well, I will. And by the way, this is consistent with everything we've talked about. This is a summary of the left this morning, at least for the first 2 hours of the program, which is that entitlement mentality. Entitlement to other people's resources via the government-generated largesse. Entitlement to other people's resources. Entitled to my self-appointed status based on my identity. And the legitimacy of using violence as the means to enforce those ends. There's your 1 + 1 = leftism. Nicely summed up. You're welcome. Good piece by John Nolte over at Breitbart, our friend John Nolte. In case you had forgotten, immediately after United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson was gunned down by Luigi Mangione, the left rallied around him, primarily women. CNN's Klingon Collins promoted Mangione's defense fund. NBC's Law & Order painted him as a folk hero in a derivative episode. The always nauseating, and I would add usually tearful Taylor Lorenz openly cheered and celebrated the murder. San Francisco hosted a musical about the alleged killer. Jon Stewart's Daily Show's audience booed news of Mangione's capture. In his first statement, Mangione thanked his supporters. Yeah, well, it was like a Tom Jones concert when he did. Except the underwear wasn't so sleek, I presume. And as Nolte points out, and as we pointed out here too, but it's worth repeating, none of his fangirls have claimed he's innocent or the victim of unfair prosecution. They just don't care. or they're proactively supportive because he's good looking. And the awfuls and raffles that are cheerleading for him or sending him love letters, they believe that violence is a legitimate means to political ends. Healthcare is a right. Healthcare company CEOs are evil. If you assassinate them to send a message, well, they had it coming. Cougars for Luigi Mangione. I'm serious. That's a thing. Mangionistas are queuing for days for a glimpse of their idol after the death of healthcare boss Brian Thompson. Oh, the death of. They had been waiting in sub-zero temperatures since Saturday afternoon, their tents snaking around barricades at the Manhattan Supreme Court. The throng of mostly young women and some older self-styled cougars had queued for their chance to see Luigi Mangione. The Mangionistas prepared homemade wristbands and beaded bracelets that read "Free Him," along with a number to denote their place in line for seats in the public gallery of Mangione's pretrial hearing. His supporters have grown only more dedicated, organized since his arrest. Because, he's a modern-day Robin Hood taking a stand against the corrupt American health insurance system. (312-642-5600) turnkey.pro answer line. There's something just odd about that too. Like these lonely women that write letters to convicted felons, even murderers and rapists. These marriages that happen while the dude is behind closed doors just through correspondence. What is wrong with these people? It's either that difficult to find something other than a male impersonator, although apparently they want male impersonators, or you were so sort of attention starved or unable to be alone with yourself. Does that happen in reverse? I'm trying to think of instances where a man on the outside has courted a woman on the inside, and they married, and so on and so forth. Just an observation about the difference between men and the distaff side, I suppose. There are cougars for Luigi, Latinas for Mangione. Now, some of the females for Mangione, it's a little complicated. Chelsea Manning counts herself, himself among them, showing up at Mangione's court appearances. Of course he does, because there's obviously a balanced individual. Speaking of attention-starved, this case out of Florida. Brooke Chenault has pleaded no contest this week after calling the police to her home in St. Petersburg, Florida, claiming a man broke into her address and sexually assaulted her. Multiple officers arrived at the scene but found no evidence of any crime. The good news was that Chenault was at the ready with a picture of the alleged assailant. The only problem was that alleged assailant didn't exist. Going to have AI specialists now. The image that she presented of the alleged assailant, the man who sexually assaulted her, was AI generated through ChatGPT. They found it in a deleted folder it was made days before she alleged the burglary and battery took place. When taken into custody, she admitted to making the picture, adding that she was struggling with depression and wanted attention. You won't be surprised to learn that she's another one of these quote-unquote TikTok influencers. One of the officers, as I'm familiar with many social media sites and trends, I recognize the mail as a TikTok challenge that is viral. The challenge is called AI Homeless Man Challenge. In this challenge, people capture a photo of an area of their home, then they upload the photo to an AI. When the photo is submitted, they ask AI to inset a homeless man in a pose of their choosing. Well, that's just a whole nother, descent into the garbage online. Hey, on the one hand, as I said at the outset of the show, you got Ed Bambus and the internet and social media as a means to do good. On the other hand, you have this. It's complicated. All it is a mirror that reflects our humanity, isn't it? David in Winnetka, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, Dan, good morning. So I thought of a new why Dan Fox is still single. Back in the 70s, they had it was a guy named Richard Ramirez. I think he went by they called him the Night Stalker. The press started calling him the Night Stalker because he would, hunt down these women and then he would rape them and kill them and blah, blah, blah. But he had such a following of females that would come pack the courtrooms all wanting to be romantic with him. It was just absolutely, utterly insane. And this is just such a reminiscence of that entire thing.
Well, it's the thanks for the call, David. It's the whole celebrity thing, isn't it? I mean, is that what it is? Notoriety equals celebrity, and that's attractive. I don't know. I mean, yeah, there are, obviously men are susceptible to our celebrity culture too, but there are limits. You've had female athletes stalked and female personalities stalked and stuff like that too. So they're always the deranged individual or just the malicious individual. But I mean, like I said, it just is so much more prevalent in the other direction, isn't it? And it's bizarre and disturbing. It speaks to some combination of an emotional and cultural instability. Rick in Downers Grove.
Hey, good morning. Hey, when you're talking about the picture the lady had, with the level of mental illness and stupidity out there, I thought you were going to say it was a crayon drawing of somebody.
Yeah, this was not a episode of Police Squad where there's a stick figure drawn in crayon. Here's the guy who did this. Not quite, Rick. It's a little bit more sophisticated for now. One other thing, since it is the holidays, this is a bit of an evergreen for us, but let's get to it. Another reason why Dan Proft is single is I can't watch these movies, but to show my consideration, I will present, and speaking of parodies, Police Squad, I will represent a wonderful parody that was done of every Hallmark movie, because 'tis the season. I mean, I can, of course, always watch the classics during the holidays. It's a Wonderful Life. Yes, I can do that on an annual basis. But the full range of the sentimental pap on Lifetime and Hallmark that cougars for Mangione seem to enjoy, not for me.
Oh my gosh, it is so great to be back in my quaint hometown. It is a welcome break from my high-paying New York City job that has left me a little cold and materialistic. No, Linda, I said I needed those deliverables streamlined into cash flow. Hold on, I need to circle back. Steve Borgalugi, is that you?
Chloe Vander Fleming?
Wow.
Wow.
It's good to sit.
I had a crush on you in high school.
Yeah, but now you were good looking.
Yeah, I am. This axe really helps. What are you doing for a living?
I am a New York executive and I am having it all.
Okay.
What are you doing for a living?
I chop down trees for people's Christmas living rooms.
Oh, so you have no money.
Is that
What level Hulu account do you have?
Does that really matter?
Do you even have Disney Plus?
I don't even know what that is.
Okay. Bye, Steve. It sure is great having it all.
Right?
I have everything I want except love.
But there are so many eligible men in New York.
Yes, but I am no New York supermodel. You see, I am just attractive enough to catch the eye of somebody in this small town.
That's true.
I did see Steve Borgaloogie today. He is cute.
He sure is.
But he is broke.
No, he isn't.
What?
He invented the internet.
Wow, now I am attracted to him.
Right?
But I called him broke to his face. How do I win him back?
Probably a grand gesture that could be the climax of this movie.
Okay.
Chloe?
I came to chop trees with you. I'm even wearing gloves.
Wow, you've shown me that you're not just a cold, calculating, materialistic New York girl. You've showed me that you know that love is all that matters.
Yeah, totally.
Hey, Chloe, look in your jacket pocket. It's a surprise.
A wedding ring. Of course, Steve. I will marry you.
Great. Hey, Chloe, I have a confession. I am rich.
Also, you have shaved and you are now in a suit.
Yes.
Yay, now we can have true love.
I also have a dog.
Hello, dog. Come to your new mom.
Well, this says, Chloe, look in your jacket pocket. There's a surprise. So now you're wearing a jacket. Just put the jacket on. Chloe? Yeah, good. Can we see you?
No.
Outtake.
Since you're in this shot. Here, I'll come back this way.
Thanks for watching our terrible movie, Christmas for Christmas.
Yeah, Christmas for Christmas. So there you go. Now, that was a little better written than what you're going to see on Hallmark or Lifetime this season. And the acting was better. But you get the gist of it. You're welcome. So now you've seen every Hallmark and Lifetime movie for the holiday season, and you could try to avoid having to watch them with your betrothed. And if nothing else, that's my Christmas gift to you. Dan Proft, Chicago's Morning Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer
Santa's coming to town. Oh my God!
on AM 560.
Santa here? I know him.
The Answer.
Listen, I'm going to be straight with you. Pain just doesn't hurt your body. It steals your life. I know because I've seen it with people I care about, and maybe you're dealing with it right now. Here's what I love about Dr. Ashley Caravelli and QC Kinetics. They get it. They're not pushing surgery. They're not handing out pills. They're using your body's own healing power to fix what's broken. This is cutting edge. I've talked to people who've been through this. These are real results. No going under the knife, no medication fog, no sitting on the couch recovering, just your body doing what it was designed to do, heal itself. QC Kinetics gives you long-term relief. Make 2026 the year you get back to living without pain. They've got weekend appointments, free consultations, and you can use your HSA or FSA spending accounts. Your first consultation is free, so don't hesitate to call to find out more. Call 312-827-6261. Again, 312-827-6261. One more time, that number is 312-827-6261. 6261. Dan Proft here to tell you about our 2025 Food for the Poor campaign. If you've listened to this station and to our show for any length of time, then you already know about Food for the Poor. They are a nonprofit, faith-based organization that provides food, water, medicine, clothing, and life-saving supplies directly to local partners in Latin America and the Caribbean. We all know about how bad the situation is in Latin America and the Caribbean right now. Economic decline, political instability and corruption, and high food prices. The only thing standing between these families and starvation is Food for the Poor and their partners who are providing life-saving food relief on the ground. But in order to get food and water to those who need it most, Food for the Poor needs your help. Your gift of just $150 can provide food and water for 2 children for an entire year. For a gift of $300, you can provide food and water for 4 children for an entire year. To make a gift of any amount, just call 844-862-4673. That's 844-862-4673. Or visit 560theanswer.com/food for the poor.
If you're looking for a watch that makes a statement, Roland's Jewelers in downtown Libertyville has the perfect timepiece for you. Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. Roland's carries my favorite watch brand, Tag Heuer. Tag Heuer is all about precision with a sleek, bold style. And I've got a Tag Heuer watch from my friends at Roland's Jewelers. I love it. They've got a great selection of other fashion-forward watch brands like Bell & Ross, Movado, Tissot, and Michelle, or consider Roland's iconic collection of pre-owned Rolexes. Let Roland's watch specialists help you find the perfect timepiece that fits your style and have their terrific experts show you the Tag Heuer watch that I bought from Roland's. Ask for it by name. Tell them it's Mike Gallagher's watch. Visit Roland's Jewelers in downtown Libertyville or RolandsJewelers.com. That's Roland's, ROLLANDS, RolandsJewelers.com, or call them 847-918-7300. 847-918-7300. Roland's Jewelers, a family-owned jeweler you can trust, just like I do.
AM 560, The Answer.
By the way, that's the line that I use too from the Hallmark. I got it from the Hallmark movie. In a bar, I tell a woman to chat her up that I invented the internet. It was so good. Steve Boogaloogie. Text from 219. I watch Hallmark because Lacey Chabert, I don't know, is hot. I don't know who that is. And there is no person hot enough to make the Hallmark or Lifetime movies tolerable. Sorry. Coming up at 7:07, we'll talk to Stephen Bucci. We'll start with what Don Jr. had to say at the Doha 2025 conference about America not being the big idiot with the checkbook anymore. Steve Bucci, 7:07. It's now 7 o'clock on AM 560 WIND Chicago.
It could be a problem. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. That's what President Trump says about a deal for Netflix to buy Warner Brothers Discovery, giving it 2 of the biggest streaming services, Netflix and HBO Max. The president says he'll be involved in the approval process.
Netflix is a great company, and they've done a phenomenal job. Ted is a fantastic man. I have a lot of respect for him, but it's a lot of market share. So we'll have to see what happens.
Ted Sarandos is the co-CEO of Netflix. The purchase would include the Warner Brothers movie and TV studios, but not its cable networks like CNN. The president was asked about the deal before last night's Kennedy Center honors in D.C. He's at the White House today and gives a speech about the economy tomorrow.
Not far from his predecessor's hometown of Scranton, Pennsylvania, President Trump will make the case his policies are bringing down cost and making life more affordable. The economic messaging comes amid polling that shows Americans are frustrated with the economy and Democratic gains in recent elections. President Trump has dismissed the idea that Democrats are the party of affordability, calling that a con job, and pointing to the price of gas and groceries as evidence of his economic success. White House officials indicate tomorrow's stop in Pennsylvania is the first in what will be a nationwide tour during 2026. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
New York City's mayor-elect posts a video advising immigrant New Yorkers how to not comply with federal immigration agents.
Zohran Mamdani releasing the video to social media.
These are the things that every New Yorker should know. First, ICE cannot enter into private spaces like your home, school, or a private area of your workplace without a judicial warrant signed by a judge.
He also warned immigrants not to impede an ICE investigation, resist arrest, or run. In New York, Sue Guzman, Fox News.
Ukraine's President Zelensky is meeting today in London with British, French, German, and European Union and NATO leaders. President Trump says Zelensky hasn't even read a U.S. proposal for peace with Russia. America's listening to Fox News.
Good morning. It is 21 degrees here in Chicago on AM 560 The Answer. I'm Stace Keene in the AM 560 newsroom. Social media video shows protesters in Elgin in a standoff with federal immigration enforcement officers who deployed tear gas when those demonstrators began throwing snowballs at their cars. DHS agents reportedly arrested 1 man. 7 people were treated for chemical exposure. Elgin police issued a statement on their social media regarding their involvement, saying the department, quote, will continue to respond to any calls for service and determine the appropriate appropriate action within the parameters of the Illinois Trust Act, which prohibits Elgin officers from assisting with federal immigration enforcement operation. A Chicago police officer was shot in the chest yesterday morning. Officials say that officer was wearing a protective vest, which likely saved his life. Officials say officers were called to the scene of a domestic disturbance in the area of South Duval Street just before 1 o'clock in the morning yesterday. Upon arrival, officers found several people fighting. That officer was shot when one of the participants' guns discharged. The officer and an 18-year-old man were both struck. That 18-year-old suffered a second gunshot wound when a second officer returned fire, striking him inadvertently along with the suspect. The officer was taken to the hospital and released. The other two were taken to the hospital and listed in fair condition. All of the officers involved have been placed on 30-day administrative duty as per standard protocol. A woman has died following a crash in Logan Square early this morning. According to reports, 2 women were in a vehicle when the driver lost control and struck a parked car, then slid across the road and struck the back of a semi-truck. The other woman was ejected from the vehicle, pronounced dead at the scene. The driver was transported to the hospital where she's listed in good condition. The truck's driver declined treatment. This report is a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Think full mouth dental implants are too expensive? Think again, not at AlmostFreeTeeth.com. With medical insurance, you could save thousands and receive your finally affordable dream smile. Check if you qualify today at AlmostFreeTeeth.com. A check of the roads is coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560, The Answer.
Scott Jennings sees a mixed message.
A few weeks ago, they spent all of their energy talking about how this is the Republican shutdown. That was all any Democrat could say. This is the Republican shutdown. The election came and went. 8 Democrats decided to open up the government. And now the rest of the Democratic Party is angry about it.
The Scott Jennings Show. Weekdays at 1, right before Hugh Hewitt at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors, a third-generation family-owned business since 1969. We know you're bombarded by choices when shopping for new windows or doors, so we're inviting you to experience the Woodland difference. For decades, we have been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows, a fifth-generation family business. Marvin replacement windows have been known to increase the warmth of your cold rooms by 10 degrees. Think about that, 10 degrees warmer. When you welcome Woodland into your home, you will get a product expert to transform your living spaces, full-time, dedicated professional installers that you can trust in your home, along with the best products like Marvin. These are the reasons we're proud of our 5-star reviews and family legacy. No gimmicks, no pressure, and upfront pricing are why Woodland Windows and Doors is your trusted window and door expert in Chicagoland. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your free in-home expert consultation. That's woodlandwindows.com, or stop by our showroom at the corner of Lake and Geary in Roselle.
The Tunnel to Towers Foundation honors America's heroes. Heroes like Josh Bischoff. Josh began his firefighting career as a volunteer and ultimately became CAL FIRE's Assistant Chief of Tactical Air Operations until tragedy struck and he was killed in a helicopter collision while fighting a California wildfire. He leaves behind his wife Cheryl and their 2 children, Derek and Juliana. The Tunnel to Towers Foundation paid the Bischoff family's mortgage. Support heroes like Josh and their families. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org.
Progressive presents Employee of the Month. Small Business Edition. Today's recipient from Lucky Larry's Landscaping, Larry! Larry saved his business money with a quick commercial auto quote from Progressive. Does it help he's his own marketing manager, accountant, executive assistant, and never been late? Technically, yes, but saving really put him over the edge. So, Larry, give Larry a round of applause. Be your own Larry. See if you could save in as little as 8 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-515-1865. 800-515-1865. 800-515-1865.
Taking a look at the roads from the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Sue Aller. Still stop and go on the outbound Stevenson between Kenzie Avenue and Pulaski Road, but a crash has just cleared at Pulaski Road, so it's 25 minutes from Lakeshore to the Tri-State. Inbound is 28 minutes. The Dan Ryan from 95th to the Byrne Interchange, 21 minutes. Outbound is 12. The express lanes inbound slow down into the Stevenson, and the inbound Eden looks really good. So does the outbound side, just 15 minutes from Lake Cook to Montrose. Inbound Kennedy from O'Hare to the Byrne Interchange, 25 minutes. Outbound is 32. And the Eisenhower inbound from Wolf to the Old Post Office is 24 minutes. Outbound is 19. This traffic update is delivered to you by Quick Delivery Service. Visit quickdelivery.com when you need same-day delivery, local delivery when you need it from safe, licensed professionals. Go to quickdelivery.com now to schedule your delivery. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now a check of your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Today, expect mostly cloudy skies with very cold temperatures, reaching a high of 24. Tonight will remain mostly cloudy, starting cold in the evening and becoming breezy late. The low will be 17, but the temperature will rise into the middle 20s. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Forever Remodeling. Stress-free and high-quality remodeling. View their stunning transformations online at the number 4everremodeling.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. So Don Jr. was part of the discussion for the Doha Summit of 2025. So he is in Qatar talking geopolitics and was not particularly complimentary of, the Eastern European peace effort, at least as it pertains to Russia and Ukraine and the efforts made there, and specifically with respect to the Ukrainians and America's ongoing efforts on their behalf. Here's what he had to say.
One of the most amazing things I got to witness, I was this summer with my beautiful girlfriend Bettina in Monaco, and we were driving around, and on an average day, 50% of the supercars, the Bugattis, the Ferraris, the this, all had Ukrainian plates. Do we think that was actually earned in Ukraine? I'd been to Ukraine 20 years ago. It wasn't like there was a plethora of wealth there. And yet you see the number two there getting arrested for stealing hundreds of millions of dollars. You hear all the rumors about what's going on. When I see every license plate on a supercar in Monaco being Bugattis, the rich fled. They let what they believed to be the peasant class fight these wars. And there was no incentive to stop, because as long as the money train was coming and they were stealing it and no one was auditing anything, the leaders, the decision makers, there was no reason for them to ever come to peace. No different than Putin. It wasn't the son of oligarchs that were fighting these wars. It's someone from Siberia that they're sending there. And he utilized the war to rebuild his manufacturing base. It was very clear that the sanctions that we put on did nothing to actually help. All it did was jack up the price of oil, which allowed him to basically pay for the war with the delta between the two while building up his manufacturing base. There was no incentive for anyone to ever get to the table. Zelensky knew he wouldn't win another election again, and they were continuing to steal. Putin was building up his manufacturing base, and all we had in the wake was millions of young men dying for nothing.
So that's one piece of it. And the next piece is him talking about America's sustained interest in Ukraine.
I don't think Ukraine is going to be abandoned, but I think for years, again, it was the same thing as the last answer, which is well, we want to attack Russia. We want to do this. Well, when it comes to actually writing a check ourselves, no, the U.S. is going to do it. The American public doesn't have an appetite for that. Since the invasion of Ukraine, I heard major leaders, Mitch McConnell, the leader of the Senate in the United States, saying it's the number one issue for Republicans in the United States. And I say, that's weird. I speak to Republicans all over the country every day, probably far more than Mitch has ever spoken to, despite his 379-year career in politics. I did that on a weekly basis, and I surveyed people at every talk I did. It got to the point where it was probably well over 200,000 Americans that I spoke to directly. And I'd be in a room like this, and I'd ask, is Russia-Ukraine a top 3 issue for anyone in the room? Nothing. Is it a top 10 issue for anyone in the room? I think I got 3 people that once said it was a top 10 issue. 3 out of hundreds surveyed, hundreds of thousands, every weekend for 2 years, till basically through the campaign. One person misunderstood the question. He thought it was a double negative. One person was actually from Kiev, so he was like, it was a big deal for him. And the other person was, I think on the board of Raytheon. So there was no appetite for that, but that didn't stop a Republican Party from saying it's the number one issue. It's not, and we actually have to listen to the will of those people. So we want peace, we want to stop the death, but I even saw that yesterday where, on this very stage, what was the idea for Europe, who is on the border of Ukraine, who has much more at stake if this happens? Well, our plan is to win economically. When pressed on the issue, how are you going to do that? Well, we're just going to wait for Russia to go bankrupt. That's not a plan. That's not an idea. The gentleman from Spain was a lovely guy. I saw him last night later on at the forum, but Spain was putting in 2.2% rather than the 5% required by NATO, because my father actually wanted people who are the biggest stakeholders to get into the game. Well, we feel that our 2.2% is being utilized more efficiently, and therefore we're not. That's not an answer. That's not a solution. And again, I understand why they are there, because America has set a precedent for decades that they'll just write the check. But if the will of the people isn't there, everyone needs to step up. Everyone has to do their share. And that includes what's happening here in the Middle East. If we do that collectively, we can get to an answer. But if we default to the old ways of America's just going to be the big idiot with a checkbook, that's not going to work. That's not going to happen.
That, if there was a motif in Don Jr.'s remarks, it was that last line, America's not going to be the big idiot with the checkbook. For more on this, pleased to be joined by Stephen Bucci, who served America for 3 decades as an Army Special Forces officer and top Pentagon official, now a visiting fellow in the Heritage Foundation's Allison Center for Foreign Policy Studies. Stephen, thanks for joining us as usual.
It's always my pleasure to be on the show. Thank you for having me.
So, Stephen, not going to be the idiot with the big checkbook.
Well, with all due respect to the president's son, number one, he's not a pollster, and his, self-described polling efforts are not exactly a scientific.
No, it's anecdotal,
case.
Right?
It's not just anecdotal; it's fictional. That kind of stuff is never accurate, and if he really feels that way, I'd like to know if that's the way he's advising his father or talking to his father, because otherwise what he's saying is manifestly unhealthy and unhelpful to anyone. There is a little more at stake than just America's economic interests here, though that's involved in it. There is a little more skin in the game in Europe and the threat that Russia poses than Donald Jr. there is indicating. And I think it's kind of glib and sort of smarty pants response. No offense, he's never run a country. He's never had his country attacked. He's kind of giving the left a lot of fodder for the fact that the Trumps are a bunch of clowns that are not serious players. They're just, oh yeah, just this is the truth. I know the truth. Just do what I tell you to do. I mean, that's not being a person of the people. That's sort of the definition of an oligarch. You guys are just being fooled. You just need to listen to me. I've got the answer. Look, do we need to monitor the aid we give to the Ukrainians? Absolutely. Do we need to monitor it better than we're doing? Yeah, definitely. I've seen us fight several wars, and I've never seen the aid we've given to other people monitor as it should be, because we get focused on the fight, not on the
oversight,
logistics, if you will.
Right.
So I'm sorry, Don Jr.'s comment just sort of pissed me off, because he's not a player in this process. He's another American citizen who probably knows a heck of a lot less about this than he thinks he does.
Well, that may be true, but I don't think it may have been more glib than others would express it. But I don't think, my sense is that, that sort of opinion about Ukraine is shared by a lot of Republicans, and including some of those in Trump's inner circle. I'm probably not Rubio, but I don't think he's that far from J.D. Vance on Ukraine, for example. And it may be, and what John Jr. said in Doha may also be sort of front-running his father's exasperation with the process to try to get to peace in Eastern Europe. What do you think about that?
Oh, I think absolutely President Trump is frustrated with this process, but I'm concerned that the result is going to be, we can pressure the Ukrainians. We're not having a heck of a lot of success pressuring Putin to change. So let's change what we can, regardless of what's right and what's not right. And I think that's a dangerous thing to do. That is Chamberlain-esque. Is okay, we'll do what we can. And I'm sorry, the Ukrainians were attacked. They were not. They didn't start this. And whatever's happened since then, they were the ones attacked by another country for absolutely no discernible justification that anybody in their right mind believes. And to just, walk away and say, well, it's too hard to get Putin to change, so screw it. We'll just let him have everything he wants and hope for the best. That's delusional.
All right, so there's this new national security document that's been put out, and it was praised by Dmitry Peskov, the Kremlin's flack, who essentially said that, their read is that less democracy, evangelism, more great power, pragmatism, and a recognition that the world is carved into zones where Washington shouldn't overextend, and that, that the United States is going to, as one wag said, play more of a consultant role in Europe than a commander role. Don Bacon, who, as you know, is a veteran, he's also a congressman from Nebraska, Republican, but he's often a critic of President Trump, and he was here. He basically said that, he didn't basically say it. This is exactly what he posted on X. One thing that stands out in the new national military strategy is that it is 10 times more critical of Europe than Russia. Although I don't know if that's, well, I don't want to go too many layers here, but just in terms of what Bacon said, I mean, we should be more constructively critical of our allies than our known adversaries. I mean, sort of like what we know about Russia is, built into the price of the national security strategy because they're one of the targets. And so the bigger issue is what our allies need to be doing, in our opinion, to support the overall effort. But I'll let you comment.
Yeah, look, first of all, the national security strategy is an important benchmark. It's a generalized, very, as we used to say, like little big hand, little map kind of look at what America is doing. It is not a policy strategy in the sense of lots of details, and this is exactly how we're going to do it. It's almost a public affairs sort of level statement. It's not classified. So it's a very generalized statement that was mandated for the federal government to produce every year by a congressman years and years ago. The laws never changed. We continue to do it. Most administrations consider it useful, but not necessarily the most relevant document that runs how we do foreign policy. So let's keep it in perspective. The public gets excited about it because we get to read it. It's something they can publish in the paper. You can download it, and it's short. It's like 15 pages or so. So it's readable for a Washington document.
So are the Russians being sort of performatively celebratory in reaction to it, even though they recognize that it's not particularly important in the sort of global realpolitik?
Yeah, I think the Russians are going to grab at anything that they can point to that says, see, Trump agrees with us. And that's why you have to be really careful with people like the Russians, because they do read all of our crap. They even read the stuff that's classified when they steal it, and they will manipulate the response to that to their advantage.
So
their analysis of it isn't exactly what everybody should be hanging on.
Well, so then
they're not going to tell us the truth.
So then Don Bacon is wrong to be passively aggressively bitching about it?
He can, but he doesn't like President Trump, so he's going to bitch about it no matter what Trump says.
No, I know, but I mean, he knows better than to take this, to make the characterization he did, to sort of lean on Russia's reaction to support his critique and so on and so forth. He knows that is off base, or should know.
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah. Right. Okay. All right. I wanted to get to something else. The narco boat strikes. So you have more veterans from the Democrat Socialist Party commenting on this, and really, I mean, of course they're going to continue to overheat on this, but it's sort of sad when, particularly somebody like Seth Moulton, who has shown fits of common sense, who's a Marine who fought combat missions. Has this to say about the narco boat strikes?
I mean, look, the President of the United States and his Secretary of Defense are conducting murder on the high seas. They're committing murder, and Americans should care. Like, look, none of us like drug traffickers, but we have laws that say that drug traffickers don't get summarily executed. And if it's happening off the coast of America with people that we don't know, just give it time before Donald Trump starts doing this same kind of thing to people we do know right here at home. It matters if the President of the United States breaks the law.
I mean, first to characterize it as murder. So the administration is a murderous regime. They're committing war crimes. And then to suggest that, it's a stone's throw from striking Americans. And just one more before you comment, Stephen. Tammy Duckworth, our junior senator here in Illinois, and also a veteran.
The fact that we do have professionals, our military men and women are the utmost professionals. The problem is they've not been authorized to be at war. And by the way, the individuals in that boat were not even aimed at the United States. So everything that they've done has been illegal. It's illegal under international law. It's illegal under the Geneva Convention. And it certainly is even illegal under domestic law. It was essentially murder with that double tap strike.
I mean, that's a very strong statement. Murder.
Dana
Does
Bash.
that constitute a war crime? Is that what you're saying?
It is a war crime. It's illegal. How will you put it? It's all illegal.
Murders, war crimes, soon to turn those drone strikes on Americans, Stephen?
Again, being very breathless and swooning and clutching their pearls. Look, first she said, well, we're not at war. You can't do this. Well, then how is it a war crime if you're not at war?
Good point.
These are non-legal experts. They're not people that have ever served as JAGs. Senator Duckworth flew helicopters. She's not a military law expert. I'm sorry, she's not. And there is some debate among the legal profession that do have the experience to have an intelligence conversation about this, about whether the strikes are legitimate or not, because they need to have an authorization for the use of military force, or you don't. Are you doing it under the War Powers Act, the prior part where the president gets to act in the interests of national security before Congress authorizes it? That debate is ongoing. But to say that these are just innocent people, we should stop them and read them their rights, and I'm sorry, we gave up on that with drugs and terrorism after 9/11, when the Clinton doctrine of this is all a police responsibility. They need to be apprehended, read their rights, and put on trial. No, you don't have to do that in international waters. These guys are pirates. They can be shot. They can be hit twice when they're still trying to accomplish their mission and their boat hasn't sunk yet. The idea that the Dems are fighting tooth and nail to protect these people is beyond belief to me. Now,
well, the other thing,
that's a different thing.
Well, of course it is. I mean, and Seth Moulton, it's just the height of irresponsibility to suggest that without foundation. But that's the nature of our politics. I understand, but it's pathetic. It's really, it actually does sadden me that a Marine would say something like Seth Moulton said. But the other thing is, the Obama drone strikes. Obama was a prolific user of drone strikes during his term, and I know it was sort of under some, expanded definition of the post 9/11 authorization of the use of force. But those same legal experts debated that too, and those debates rage on. So the hypocrisy as per usual. But it's important to point out that this is not really breaking new ground. It's just applying it in a different theater.
That's exactly right, and the Dems ought to think about that. If it comes down and this is determined to be illegal, if this requires legal action against the people who participate or the people who gave them the orders, this could extend back to President Obama in spades, for sure. Look, 70% of the American people are thrilled with what's going on with this, even the so-called double tap, which is a stupid distinction. But it's politics. It's more political theater. It's not helping America. It's not helping us domestically with our own debates because they're getting unserious, and it's not helping us internationally because there are countries with whom we're friends that are very, oh my God, this is terrible. We need to be nice to everybody. No, these people, my favorite one was, this guy was probably forced to drive the boat anyway. No, it's his job. He volunteered to do this.
Right. We need to get the backstory in every lieutenant in the cartels before we decide whether or not they're a bad guy. He had a difficult childhood. The other thing. The other thing here, too, that's a real tell, is they're not going after Admiral Mitch Bradley. And Bradley did the briefing last week. He is a decorated military leader. And, he's the one that gave the quote unquote double tap double tap order. And, and the argument that he made is they were still, in the fight. And they're not challenging that, and they're not saying Admiral Bradley's a traitor, Admiral Bradley's a murderer. They're just skipping over the guy who made the call to characterize Trump as the murderer and the war criminal. It's really, really disingenuous.
Yeah, it's completely disingenuous. And look, I'm not saying there's not going to be continued legal debate about this. There will be. We still don't have a ruling on the War Powers Act from the end of the Vietnam War. There is still a diametrically opposed analysis points on how that works. And we don't have a decision on it because No one's pushed it to the Supreme Court because both sides realized they could lose. Both sides, interpretation-wise. And this is going to fall into that same category. But, the difference is the left has a lot more media outlets to push their idea out there than the right ones. And we got to just keep fighting.
Stephen Bucci served America for 3 decades as Army Special Forces officer and top Pentagon official, now a visiting fellow in the Heritage Foundation's Allison Center for Foreign Policy Studies. Stephen, thank you as always. Appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me, and we'll talk to you next time.
All right, and Stephen joined us on the Turnkey.pro answer line.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Honey, what's for dinner?
Honestly, nothing.
Nothing? Why not?
Because every time I need a pan, I have to unload half the kitchen first.
It's like Jenga, but with casserole dishes.
Exactly. And I always lose.
At Forever Remodeling, we create kitchens that fit your life, not the other way around. From smart storage to stunning finishes, start cooking in a kitchen built just for you. Visit foreverremodeling.com. That's the number 4, everremodeling.com.
It's news, opinion, and insight at the speed of your life. Streaming at 560theanswer.com on the AM 560 mobile app, or tell your smart speaker to play The Answer Chicago.
Good morning. It is 21 degrees here in Chicago on AM 560 The Answer. I'm Stace Keene in the AM 560 newsroom. A man has been arrested and charged for fatally shooting and dismembering a 68-year-old man back in March. According to reports, 32-year-old DeParis Slaughter will be in court today where he's facing several charges, including felony murder charges, arson, and concealing a homicidal death. A man has been shot following an armed robbery on the south side. According to reports, that victim told police he was walking in an alley in East 79th Street when he was approached by 2 men who demanded his belongings. One of those suspects then pulled out a gun and shot the victim in the thigh. The victim was transported to Jackson Park Hospital where he's listed in good condition. There are no suspects at this time. And the driver of a CTA bus which struck and killed a woman last week has been cited in that accident. According to reports, 42-year-old Tracy Frazier was walking towards that parked bus when she slipped on the icy ground and was struck as the bus began to move. Officials did not say what the driver was cited for. This report is a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Think full mouth dental implants are too expensive? Think again, not at AlmostFreeTeeth.com. With medical insurance, you could save thousands and receive your finally affordable dream smile. Check if you qualify today at AlmostFreeTeeth.com. A check of the roads is coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
Get ready for a musical journey like no other when the Trans-Siberian Orchestra returns to Chicago on December 26th on their The Ghost of Christmas Eve 2025 tour. Enter to win tickets and the grand prize of a 75-inch TV, a home stereo system, and a $1,000 gift card. Enter today at 560theanswer.com/TSO.
Hey, it's Scott Tucker, and I'm here with
Amy Jacobson
from Retirement Dakota with Scott Tucker and Amy Jacobson here on AM 560 The Answer. Now, I'm a financial advisor, and Amy's the co-host for our program. You know, Amy, recently President Trump signed the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. A lot of folks aren't realizing, Amy, that if they have highly appreciated assets, they can potentially tax defer the capital gains tax, place that money into a qualified opportunity fund, and then 10 years from now, get back out of that investment and pay no capital gains tax on either investment. Have you heard of such a thing, Amy?
I did not know about that. That seemed to be hidden in the bill.
It's only 900 some pages.
Yeah,
we have to pass it to see what's in it.
An easy beach read, yes.
Yes. And now there's another thing in the bill as well, Amy. Section 1202. Amy, did you read Section 1202?
I did not, but thank you for the homework assignment.
If you're a small business owner, many small business owners can now sell their small business and potentially pay no federal capital gains taxes on that capital gain of selling their business.
Wow.
If you'd like to get a free copy of my latest book, Escape Illinois, Should I Stay or Should I Go? Text the keyword book. That's BOOK to 224-496-3999. Text the keyword book to 224-496-3999. In addition to a free copy of my latest book, Escape Illinois, Should I Stay or Should I Go? You'll also get our entire Retirement Decoded toolkit. We'll also give you the opportunity to talk to us 15 minutes for free over the telephone at another time so we can go through the One Big Beautiful Bill Act with you, show you how to potentially sell your highly appreciated assets and pay no federal capital gains tax. how qualified opportunity funds work, and also if you're a small business owner, how to potentially pay no capital gains on the sale of your small business through Section 1202 of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. Text book to 224-496-3999 or call that very same number, 224-496-3999.
Investment advisory services made available through AE Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Firm does not offer tax advice.
Why wait for Black Friday when you can save every day? We're extending Black Friday Plus at Hassellus Mattress. We've gone rogue and activated Black Friday deals on all Beautyrest, Beautyrest World Class, and Beautyrest Black mattresses. Now through Monday, you get the way low Hassellus price on all Beautyrest mattresses, plus a free adjustable base, plus free memory foam pillows, plus free next day delivery, plus employee-free, hassle-free showrooms. Not just on Black Friday, but every day through Monday at Hassellus Mattress. Get a Queen Beautyrest Elm Cove A mattress. Other stores sell it for $1,650, but our Black Friday Plus price is just $794, plus free adjustable base, plus free memory foam pillows, plus free next day delivery, and a great night's sleep for way less. Bust down our door for Beautyrest Black Friday Plus, now through Monday at Hassellus Mattress. Open 9 to 9. Find an employee-free showroom near you at hassellus.com.
If you want thick, healthy, gorgeous hair, then you need Hair Volume from New Nordic. Available online at Amazon and newnordicusa.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
Taking a look at the roads from the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Sue Aller. Watch out, you got a crash on the Tri-State. It's on the right shoulder, southbound at Calsag Bridge. Northbound on Lakeshore Drive, stop and go delays into Hollywood Avenue. The inbound Stevenson slows down from the Tri-State to Lakeshore, 35 minutes. Outbound is 20 and very slow approaching the Dan Ryan. The inbound Dan Ryan Express is jammed approaching the Stevenson. And on the Dan Ryan inbound from 95th to the Burn Interchange, 27 minutes. Outbound is 12. Looking good both ways on the Eden from Lake Cook to Montrose, 17 minutes. The Kennedy inbound from O'Hare to the Burn Interchange, 35 minutes. Outbound 36. The Eisenhower inbound from Wolf to the Old Post Office, 28 minutes. Outbound is 24. This report is sponsored by Super Sure. Do you own a small business? You need to hear this. A seismic shift is coming. It's time to get Super Sure. Not kind of sure, not pretty sure, not a little sure, but Super Sure. The seismic shift is coming. Super Sure coming soon. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now a check of your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Today, expect mostly cloudy skies with very cold temperatures reaching a high of 24. Tonight will remain mostly cloudy with cold conditions early on, turning breezy later. The low will be 17, but temperatures will rise into the mid-20s. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. This is always a favorite topic, and since it is the holidays, a lot of people will be traveling via the skies. Let's see if we can be more generous to the people that are a bit more heavy set than some of us may be. Trying to, broker holiday tolerance. Passenger on a Delta Airlines flight silently cried ahead of a 2-hour flight after she saw her seatmate sent a demeaning text complaining about being wedged next to a quote-unquote huge woman. How do we know that she silently cried? Because, of course, she had to post it to TikTok. So there's a little bit of blame to go around here. Anyway, sharing a face of a short video and her tear-streaked face. Her Delta flight from Tampa to New York had just taken off when she saw the disgruntled stranger sitting next to her sent his buddies a body-shaming text about her. We've taken off and I can't stop crying. The man next to me sends one text. Erg, huge woman, huge, all caps, sat next to me. I saw because I have eyes and now I feel like a prisoner for the next 2 hours. Be kind. If you're feeling so inclined, you can send me some love. I've lost 60 plus pounds and have actually been feeling really good about myself. Adding that flying while fat is hard. As I approached my row, I made eye contact with the man in the window seat of my row. I could see the man in the window visibly sigh and roll his eyes. Here we go. That's immediately when my radar went up. And she said, she wasn't eavesdropping. The text was right there in front of her face after she sat down, apparently in the middle seat. She told she posted on TikTok that the man seemed to realize his text was rude and quickly started to send a series of empty texts to push the body-shaming text farther up the screen until it was out of sight. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. Can we be a little bit less antagonistic? I mean, nobody likes to sit next to somebody who's spilling over from their seat into yours, but maybe a little bit of restraint. Oh, and by the way, that also goes with the overly sensitive, heavy-set person. Let me give you an example of how better to approach this. To be a little bit self-effacing, to stop being so sensitive, to take it in stride, laugh along. Carissa Codell is a morning news anchor on Ozarks First in the morning, Fox 49, down in Missouri, obviously. She's young, 26 years old, and she's a rather Rubenesque woman. So she decided to lean into some mainly critical, ridiculing comments that she received from viewers about her size. Take a listen.
Damn, girl, I want you to put a hurtin' on me like you do those midnight snacks. I don't think I will. I ain't never worked as hard as them ankles. Ladies, if your man doesn't work harder than your ankles, get another one. I'm so sorry. What happened to just, you look nice? You're not gonna read that. I'm not gonna read that, no, you're right. She's like the only fat 9 I've ever seen. I'm rare. That's what I get out of that. Why have fake news when you can have cake news? Yeah, if I could be a cake, what cake would I be? I guess leave a comment. Oh, maybe don't. No, well, we'll see what people come up with, I guess. I don't know. I'm kind of scared. This is who Sir Mix-a-Lot was rapping about. And if you don't get that reference, it's time to do your homework and go to bed.
I love her reading it in the newswoman voice, the I-team voice, too. Very good. See, I mean, that's somebody that's, self-effacing, laughing along with it, and coming right back. It was good. There's a little bit more.
You look like you could survive a harsh winter. She's thicker than Zoo Glass. I just want to know who Zoo Glass is.
Thicker than Zoo Glass is a good one. I haven't heard that one. And she closes out with this one.
Fee-fi fo yum.
Pretty funny viewer. It must be some of our listeners, too. Pretty funny, clever viewers down there in the Ozarks. Fee-fi fo yum. Yeah. Nice Jack and the Beanstalk. Oh, gosh. I just, the being charitable this holiday season when it comes to not so much news anchors, especially Carissa Codell. She apparently can take it. But, flights where tensions are high, people's nerves are a bit frayed, particularly if there's delays and things like that, and you're sitting next to a Zoftig individual. Just deal with it. Deal with human frailties as best you can. It's my holiday PSA for you. You're welcome. Dan Proft, Chicago's Morning Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560.
Merry Christmas, you filthy animal.
The Answer.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors, a third-generation family-owned business since 1969. We know you're bombarded by choices when shopping for new windows or doors, so we're inviting you to experience the Woodland difference. For decades, we have been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows, a fifth-generation family business. Marvin replacement windows have been known to increase the warmth of your cold rooms by 10 degrees. Think about that, 10 degrees warmer. When you welcome Woodland into your home, you will get a product expert to transform your living spaces, full-time, dedicated professional installers that you can trust in your home, along with the best products like Marvin. These are the reasons we're proud of our 5-star reviews and family legacy. No gimmicks, no pressure, and upfront pricing are why Woodland Windows and Doors is your trusted window and door expert in Chicagoland. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your free in-home expert consultation. That's woodlandwindows.com, or stop by our showroom at the corner of Lake and Geary in Roselle.
Yeah, people like Fat Nine. That was a favorite comment. I still like Fee Fi Fo Yum. Pretty good. Listen, I'm going to be straight with you. Pain just doesn't hurt your body. It steals your life. I know because I've seen it with people I care about. Maybe you're dealing with it right now. Here's what I love about Dr. Ashley Caravelli and QC Kinetics. They get it. They're not pushing surgery. They're not handing out pills. They're using your body's own healing power to fix what's broken. This is cutting edge. I've talked to people who've been through this. These are real results. No going under the knife, no medication fog, no sitting on the couch recovering. Just your body doing what it was designed to do, which is heal itself. QC Kinetics gives you long-term relief. Make 2026 the year you get back to living without pain. They have weekend appointments, free consultations, and you can use your HSA or FSA spending accounts. Your first consultation is free, so don't hesitate to call to find out more. 312-827-6261. Again, 312-827-6261. Once more, that number for QC Kinetics, 312-827-6261.
This past year has been one of the hardest in MyPillow's history. It's because of you that they are making it through. They want to thank you for your continued support by passing on some Christmas specials to our listeners. Get the Children's Bible Story Pillow 5-pack for $29.98. My Slippers with a free bottle of leather protectant spray for $39.98. Blankets, comforters, and duvets for as low as $25, and a blowout sale on the standard MyPillows for just $14.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY to take advantage of these wholesale prices, including the standard size MyPillow, originally $49.98, now only $14.98. Queens $18.99. Kings only $1 more. 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY. We know MyPillow products come with a 10-year warranty, but MyPillow has just announced that they are extending their 60-day money-back guarantee. That's right. Orders placed between now and December 25th will have their 60-day money-back guarantee extended through March 1st, 2026. Promo code LIBERTY.
Text from 630. Dan, how many women automatically discard men that are not as tall or taller than them? Somebody can always lose weight, but a man can't grow any taller. That's much more unfair and cruel. Well, yeah, but we're just talking about sitting next to someone on a plane without being antagonistic. We're not talking about having to date them. So, that's a whole Why Dan Proft a Single segment. This is just how Dan Proft gets along on commercial airlines. All right, making the switch to a new IT services and support company may seem like a big ordeal, but if you're not getting the reliable support, consistent internet, and secure solutions your company needs every working day, then meet Access One, your local Chicagoland IT experts and proud new sponsor of Chicago's Morning Answer. These are the guys you want to talk to. Access One has been powering Chicago businesses with secure, reliable IT solutions for more than 30 years from their headquarters in the West Loop. Local and in tune with Chicago businesses they are, so whether it's voice over IP phones, dedicated internet, which I invented, managed cybersecurity, cloud backups, or 24/7 support, Access One is here for you and your business. Serving thousands of companies from Naperville to the North Shore, Access One is Chicago-owned and Chicago-run. A trusted IT partner for law firms, clinics, tech startups, and manufacturers. They will make the switch for you easier than you think. Call them today to discuss your business needs and tell them I sent you when you do. 1-800-654-1555 is the number. Again, that's 800-654-1555 or online at accessoneinc.com. That's accessoneinc.com. 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 Access One, tech made personal locally.
Adult Beverage Solutions is looking for a brand ambassador in all areas for beverage sampling events. You have the ability to create your own schedule because most events take place Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays at local grocery stores and independent liquor stores. Flexible scheduling with the ability to choose events that you would like to work. Receive event pay weekly. State alcohol certification is mandatory for all ambassadors. Must be 21 years of age. Competitive pay with the opportunity to earn bonus for exceptional performance. Each event you will provide consumers with product education while collecting consumer feedback. If you are interested, our team would like to connect with you about this opportunity. Please email us at careers.abstastings@gmail.com with your information and where you are located, and our team will be in touch soon. Or check us out online at adultbeveragesolutions.com/join-now. That's adultbeveragesolutions.com/join-now.
If you're looking to purchase a loved one's home after they passed away, you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. Pam wanted to purchase her grandmother's $400,000 home after she passed away, which was left to Pam's father, Ted, and her Aunt Betty. Ted listens to my show and wanted to forego his half of the equity of his mom's home and sell Pam the home for $200,000. Bad move. I recommended Pam purchase the home for $400,000 and get a gift of equity from her father, Ted, for $200,000. Which enabled Pam to purchase the home with a lower rate and no money out of her pocket. Let's review. I helped Pam purchase her grandmother's home without having to bring a penny to the closing and secure a lower rate. Team Hochberg's helped thousands of radio listeners, but we can't help if you don't call 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. That's 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. Lower.com, equal housing lender, MLS 1124061.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are high interest payments becoming too much to bear? Luckily, there's a way for consumers struggling with over $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans to significantly reduce the amount they owe if they qualify. Qualifying for this debt relief program, which the credit card companies prefer to keep secret, will only require you to pay back a fraction of what you owe with one affordable monthly payment. You don't have to file bankruptcy or need a debt consolidation loan. Consumers can now take advantage of this financial debt relief during the current economic downturn and rising inflation. If you owe $10,000 or even $500,000 in credit card debt or personal loans, call the Debt Relief Advocates Helpline now for this free information and to see if you qualify. Call 800-524-8986. 800-524-8986. Again, that's 800-524-8986.
Are you prepared for the Illinois estate tax? If your estate is worth over $4 million, your heirs could face a tax bill of up to 16% when you pass. Financial advisor Scott Tucker and the team at Scott Tucker Solutions can show you ways to potentially reduce or even eliminate that burden. One strategy is to start gifting assets during your lifetime to lower the taxable value of your estate. Another option is setting up irrevocable trusts, which can shield wealth from estate taxes. Charitable donations and life insurance policies can also be smart tools to offset tax liabilities. Call Scott Tucker and the Scott Tucker Solutions team now, 847-474-3888, or go to 560retirement.com. That's 847-474-3888, or go to 560retirement.com. Investment advisory services made available through AE Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Firm may not give tax advice.
AM 560, The Answer.
Text from 847 about flying with somebody who is flying while fat, sitting next to you, spilling over in your seat. You would be upgrading your seat for any price. No way, Dan Proft. And unwanted touching by flabs of flesh ends well. I'll have you know, I have experienced that, flying with somebody who is larger, spilling over into my side a little bit, and handled it with aplomb and generosity of spirit and perhaps a little bit of alcohol. But as long as I have the window seat and I can sort of, lean against the fuselage there, I'm good at sleeping on flights or just, watching something, tuning out. I'm fine. So no, No, I'm not one to kick up any dust, and I'm okay flying in steerage. I'm not a dandy. We're just going back to our conversation with Stephen Bucci at the top of the hour about some of the things Don Jr. had to say at the Doha 2025 confab. Hill Dog was also there. Former Senator Kankles, former Secretary of State Kankles. She's teaching a course at Columbia now, which is, boy, it's a real accomplishment. She was critical of the Trump national security strategy, saying
I think we should be all looking at the tragedies and the conflicts that are bringing about so much suffering and be dealing with them. That's why the national security strategy is not to my liking, because I think the United States has an important role in trying to resolve these conflicts and alleviate the suffering and give people a chance to have peaceful, prosperous lives. That should be our goal. That is in America's interest. I don't care where in the world you are. So, of course, the suffering in Gaza is horrific. Full stop. Suffering everywhere is horrific. So let's look at what we can do to try to resolve, what is being done to people in so many different settings right now. And I think that the emphasis on one terrible conflict sort of doesn't do justice to the challenges that we are confronting. And I don't want to see my country basically say, you know what, those other presidents, they tried to resolve conflicts. They tried to stand for democracy and freedom. They stood up for human rights. What a waste of time. That is, to me, an abdication of leadership. And I want to see us involved everywhere, trying to stop the kind of horrible abuses that are going on.
I mean, it's one of these people. Never leave the scene, Hillary. He just announced the peace deal that he brokered between the DRC and Rwanda last week, Armenia and Azerbaijan, Iran and Israel, India and Pakistan, Cambodia and Thailand. We're near phase 2 of the Gaza ceasefire. Even though there's been intermittent fighting, he's got a 20-point plan for 20-point plan for peace in Eastern Europe. I mean, the idea that he's America, I'll go it alone, Fortress America, and this administration is not involved in trying to broker peace is among the most absurd statements, and there's a lot of competition that the left is making. And you can always count on Hillary Clinton to be right there making absurd statements. All right, coming up at 8:08. We'll talk to former Chicago Police Chief Eddie Johnson, both about the officer who was shot over the weekend and repealing the Safety Act. See if he's on board. 8:08, it's now 8 o'clock on AM 560 WIND Chicago.
He hasn't even read it. I'm Chris Foster. Fox News. President Trump says last he'd heard Ukraine's President Zelensky has not read his proposal for peace with Russia and isn't ready for it. Zelensky's meeting with European leaders today.
As these peace talks really drag on here, the Ukrainian president is in London to talk with ally leaders about strengthening his military and strengthening Ukraine's defense. He will sit down with the Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, and the French president and also the German chancellor in a way really to strengthen his negotiating position here, since they too find Russia's demands to control eastern Ukraine to be way too unacceptable. This comes amid new comments from the president's son, Don Jr., suggesting that it is possible that Trump could walk away.
Fox's Aisha Hosni at the White House. President Trump today plans to announce a $12 billion aid package for farmers affected by the trade war started by putting more tariffs in place, and says he has options if the Supreme Court rules he's overstepped his authority with those tariffs.
There are other routes we can go, but it won't give you the same pure national security as this one. This one is swift and very powerful.
The president there on the red carpet before the Kennedy Center honors in D.C. also saying Netflix purchase of Warner Brothers Discovery could be a problem, and he'll be involved in the approval process. He posted this morning on Truth Social that he'll sign an executive order this week for one rule book covering artificial intelligence instead of 50 states having their own. Thousands of people have fled the area near the Thailand-Cambodia border. Here's Fox's Marianne Rafferty.
Thailand launched airstrikes against Cambodia. This new wave of fighting comes just months after the two sides agreed to pause fighting in a peace plan brokered by President Trump. But that pact was suspended earlier this month between the Southeast Asian neighbors. Thailand says this new attack is in retaliation for a deadly Cambodian strike on Monday.
A soldier was killed. The movie One Battle After Another has the most Golden Globe nominations with 9. America's listening to Fox News.
Good morning. It is 23 degrees here in Chicago on AM 560, The Answer. I'm Stace Keene in the AM 560 newsroom. A woman has been killed this morning following a domestic disturbance. According to reports, police responded to a call early this morning where they found a 27-year-old woman who was suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. She was pronounced dead at the scene. A 29-year-old man has been taken into custody. Tenants who live in that building, which is now infamous for the ICE raid, will be in court today asking a judge for more time to find housing. According to reports, that building is currently in foreclosure and the tenants are facing eviction. They have until Friday to leave the building. Tenants are asking for a 2-month extension in order to have time to find suitable housing. A man has been arrested and charged for fatally shooting and dismembering a 68-year-old man back in March. According to reports, 32-year-old DePere Slaughter will be in court today where he's facing several charges, including felony murder charges, arson, and concealing a homicidal death. Chicago police have arrested a man for hitting and seriously injuring a member of the Cook County Fugitive Task Force with his vehicle. Police say 27-year-old Antoine Ford's vehicle struck the officers as the task force members tried to apprehend him. Ford is facing several charges, including attempted murder and aggravated battery of a police officer. And Chicago police officers worked over the weekend to bring joy to Gold Star families. Officers participating in Operation Santa joined Old St. Nick and Mrs. Claus to visit families of officers who were killed or severely injured in the line of duty. They brought gifts and cheer to celebrate the holiday season. This report is a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Think full mouth dental implants are too expensive? Think again, not at AlmostFreeTeeth.com. With medical insurance, you could save thousands and receive your finally affordable dream smile. Check if you qualify today at AlmostFreeTeeth.com. A check of the roads is coming up in 2 minutes, but it's time now for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Signature Bank.
I'm Charles Payne, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is predicting the economy will end 2025 on very strong footing. Bessent also believes it's been a very strong holiday shopping season so far. The secretary saying, quote, "We're going to finish the year with 3% real GDP growth," end quote, and that's despite the 43-day government shutdown. The Federal Reserve begins a 2-day meeting tomorrow. It's expected to wrap up with another quarter-point interest rate cut by the central bank on Wednesday afternoon when Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell speaks with Wall Street listening closely. IBM could start the week off by swinging a big deal. The Wall Street Journal reporting the company is in advanced talks to acquire data infrastructure company Confluent for around $11 billion, $3 billion more than the company was valued at on Friday. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Frank Lanza, invested in you.
Would you like to have your mortgage or rent paid for all of 2026? That sounds like a Christmas miracle, doesn't it?
This is what Christmas is all about.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what AM 560 The Answer wants to do for you. Go to 560theanswer.com/miracle to enter our Christmas Mortgage Miracle Contest. Enter once per day, every day, between now and December 20th. You can have your rent or mortgage paid for all of next year.
It's a Christmas miracle.
Nice. Go to 560theanswer.com/miracle.
Dan Proft here to tell you about an opportunity for you to promote your business and to make a difference this Christmas season. I'm talking about our Food for the Poor Business Benefactor Program. We've partnered with Food for the Poor to provide life-saving food and water for thousands of children and their families in Latin America and the Caribbean. Your business can be a part of this effort. Become a Food for the Poor business benefactor by making a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Food for the Poor. That donation will help more than 30 children for an entire year. And when you do that, AM 560 will give you 40 one-minute commercials to air here on AM 560 The Answer between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. Monday through Friday at no additional cost to you. To take advantage of this deal, just call John Gallagher at 847-472-8950. Again, that's 847-472-8950. One more time, the number, 847-472-8950. or go to 560theanswer.com/food for the poor. That website again, 560theanswer.com/food for the poor.
Wow, that's quite a combo.
What, my outfit? Why are you wearing tuxedo pants with a polo shirt? It's all because of Penny Mustard's new Fancy Pants table.
Are you referring to the Izzy Major counter table?
That's the one. I've heard so many people talking about the Izzy table.
They should be. It's a real showstopper.
Sophisticrafted with locally forged iron and sturdy glass. Aha, the glass.
What about it?
The Izzy table's glass is so crystal clear. Yeah? Your dinner companions can see your lower half.
Ah, that's why you're wearing
Fancy Pants.
It all makes sense now.
Don't worry about your pants, but you might want to change your shoes. These happen to be my nicest work boots.
They really class up the joint.
Thanks. The Izzy Major counter table, American made, with a unique iron and glass design, paired with 4 stools, and starting at just $57.10 at Penny Mustard.
7 Chicagoland showrooms.
PennyMustard.com. Fancy pants versions of what people want.
Penny Mustard Furnishings.
The Tunnel to Towers Foundation honors America's heroes. Heroes like Josh Bischoff. Josh began his firefighting career as a volunteer and ultimately became CAL FIRE's Assistant Chief of Tactical Air Operations until tragedy struck and he was killed in a helicopter collision while fighting a California wildfire. He leaves behind his wife Cheryl and their 2 children, Derek and Juliana. The Tunnel to Towers Foundation paid the Bischoff family's mortgage. Support heroes like Josh and their families. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at t2t.org.
Progressive presents Employee of the Month. Small Business Edition. Today's recipient from Lucky Larry's Landscaping, Larry! Larry saved his business money with a quick commercial auto quote from Progressive. Does it help he's his own marketing manager, accountant, executive assistant, and never been late? Technically, yes, but saving really put him over the edge. So, Larry, give Larry a round of applause. Be your own Larry. See if you could save in as little as 8 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Taking a look at the roads from the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Sue Aller. Stop-and-go delays on the southbound Tri-State as you approach the Calsac Bridge with a crash. Hitting those brakes northbound on Lakeshore Drive as you head into Hollywood Avenue, and the Stevenson is just jammed in both directions approaching the Dan Ryan, but inbound from the Tri-State to Lakeshore, 40 minutes. Outbound is 26. The express lanes on the inbound Dan Ryan real slow into the Stevenson, and in the local lanes from 95th to the Byrne Interchange, inbound is 39 minutes, outbound is 13. 46 minutes both ways on the Kennedy from O'Hare to the Byrne Interchange. Inbound Eisenhower from Wolf to the Old Post Office, 39 minutes, outbound is 30. This report is a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Think full mouth dental implants are too expensive? Think again, not at AlmostFreeTeeth.com. With medical insurance, you could save thousands and receive your finally affordable dream smile. Check if you qualify today at AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now a check of your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Today, expect mostly cloudy skies with very cold temperatures, reaching a high of 24. Tonight will remain mostly cloudy, starting cold in the evening and becoming breezy late. The low will be 17, but the temperature will rise into the middle 20s. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Goldilocks, offering smart security systems to homes and businesses. Call Goldilocks at 708-889-5600.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. Prosecutors this week charged a 43-year-old man with attacking or trying to attack 3 strangers with a knife during a rampage in Old Town 2 months ago. A review of CPD reports and court records shows how often Tyshawn Stampley, usually arrested as Rayshawn or Rayshawn Stampley, cycled in and out of custody before the Old Town attacks. Judges saw missed court dates, new arrests, and multiple violations of pretrial release conditions. Yet each time he was allowed out, although he often was supposed to be on electronic monitoring, even after he failed to comply with that program. Yeah, that's the profile. It just repeats itself, doesn't it? That's the Bethany McGee case. That young lady who was nearly burned to death on the Blue Line several weeks back. Officers responding to calls of a man removing his clothing found Stampley clothed but intoxicated in the 700 block of Northwest Street. Cops released him to the fire department so he could be taken to Northwest Memorial for detox. As a paramedic helped him into the ambulance, Stampley allegedly swung and struck the medic in the right side of the face. Police removed him, arrested him for aggravated battery of an EMT. That's a felony. That offense, a felony offense, is not detainable under the Safety Act. So he was released the next day without electronic monitoring. Then, lo and behold, surprising, he missed his next court hearing. Cops arrested him April 3rd. A report said he yelled out to a 40-year-old man, "Hey, Chinaman, hey, yo, I don't like Chinese men," before punching the man above the left eye, leaving a bruise. Victim called 911. Police learned he had also displayed a kitchen knife, threatened a 20-year-old man who was walking home from work. And he was released. No felony charges filed. He faced misdemeanor battery count and a misdemeanor assault with a deadly weapon, and then prosecutors dropped the case a month later. A few days later, the judge overseeing the paramedic battery case put him on electronic monitoring. And then he stopped appearing for court hearings on August 7th, and then the judge issued a warrant. Law enforcement tracked him down, brought him before the judge again. She gave him a 15-day jail sanction for violating pretrial release. But that was cut in half by state law and reduced further by 6 days that he already spent in custody. So within hours, he was back on the street on electronic monitoring with the permission to leave his home for work, quote unquote. Really? And what was the evidence of his employment, I'd like to know? Then, a month later, he was arrested on misdemeanor battery charges again. Another judge placed him on electronic monitoring, noted in the record that he attacked a random person and has a pending aggravated battery case. 8 days later, he was walking around Old Town with a knife. On October 13th, a 31-year-old man stepped off the bus in the 300 block of West Division. Stampley approached him aggressively, struck him in the shoulder, and held a knife in his hand, according to the detention filing. After the man began calling 911, Stampley knocked the victim's phone from behind him. The victim, who later discovered 3 small cuts in his shirt, followed Stampley until he slipped inside a public library. There, he lunged at a 33-year-old man and swung a knife toward the man's abdomen. Fortunately, did not significantly injure him. Then he approached a 49-year-old man outside the library and swung a knife at him twice, cutting the man's backpack and causing a laceration on his back. All officers arrested him again. All 3 victims identified him. The only charges filed, misdemeanors, 3 counts of battery, 3 counts of assault with a deadly weapon, misdemeanors. He was finally detained only because of his long list of pretrial violations, not because the new charges qualified for detention. Prosecutors dropped all 6 Old Town misdemeanor charges on October 28th, refiled as 5 felony aggravated battery counts. And then he was detained pretrial. And has been. That's a long, winding road for a habitual violent offender, isn't it? And by the way, that was CWB Chicago's reporting. 19-time felon gets 6 years for burglarizing one of Chicago's poshest high-rise homes. The story is in the headline. 18-time convicted felon, now 19, after he pleaded guilty to robbing a rich guy's home. So now he's getting time, real time. After 18 chances, didn't do it. Didn't get him to change his ways. Our friend Tom Weitzel, former Riverside Police Chief, 40 years in law enforcement, had a good piece about the Safety Act in the Chicago Contrarian, because that case of the habitual offender that stabbed those 3 men in Old Town, that long winding road I just went through. It's important as a reminder. I mean, we've been talking about this for the better part of 3 years. I spent millions of dollars running commercials about this in the 2022 cycle. But let's refresh everybody's recollection. Per Weitzel's commentary, and he's got it right, the Safety Act, Pritzker's Law, requires prosecutors to prove three prongs by clear and convincing evidence in order to detain someone pre-trial. The proof is evident or presumption is great the defendant committed the qualifying offense. The defendant poses a real and present threat to safety or high likelihood of willful flight. No condition or combination of conditions can mitigate the threat or flight risk. The no condition or combination of conditions can mitigate the threat or flight risk is the difficult one, writes Weitzel. It's an unfair burden. Judges can always hypothesize a condition, electronic monitoring, daily reporting, curfews, treatment programs. The mere existence of those options allows judges to deny detention, even for defendants with violent records who have demonstrated a danger to the community. Prosecutors across the state have criticized this prong, and rightly so. It elevates hypothetical conditions over real risk. He goes on to talk about the absurd definition of willful flight, which we have talked about before. And I also want to give credit because he's been a leading voice on this going all the way back to the beginning. Jim Glasgow, the Will County State's Attorney, a Democrat, who has engendered the animus of his own party by saying what is true about this absurd, dangerous law, writes Weitzel, the Act's definition, the Pritzker Law's definition of willful flight is absurd. It requires proof of intentional conduct designed to thwart prosecution. In other words, prosecutors must show that the defendant was formulating plans to miss court, buying airline tickets, arranging to leave the jurisdiction, running from police, missing court dates, living outside the venue. None of that counts unless prosecutors can prove premeditated intent. Common sense tells us those are flight risks. The Safety Act says otherwise. It protects offenders, not the public. Well, a very good summary. And remember, just to walk back for a moment down memory lane in 2022, the entire state was warned because people saw the ads that I did, including ones that featured Jim Glasgow.
The politician versus the professional prosecutor. Both are Democrats, but only one is telling the truth. Pritzker.
There's no such thing under the Safety Act as non-detainable offenses. No one is getting out of jail. If prosecutors do that, that's on them.
Versus Glasgow.
Well, obviously, that is not the truth. We have about 640 people in jail. Half of them would walk out on day one, and that's not on the prosecutors. That's on the statute.
Make the safe vote on November 8th. Vote no on Pritzker.
Yeah, but instead the state voted yes. This was something that got national attention. It's still getting national attention, but you might remember back in the day, even Joe Rogan picked this up. I did an ad about what he had to say, too.
They're essentially eliminating cash bail for almost everything dangerous. Drug-induced homicide, robbery, kidnapping, aggravated battery, burglary, intimidation, no bail.
What?
Yeah, they're
Yeah, that's a succinct way to put it. They're fracked. Except that's not what he said. He didn't use the word frack. Yeah, now, those non-detainable offenses, that were, quote-unquote, addressed, even though they didn't need to be addressed. That's what Pritzker said. They were addressed after he won re-election. But yet, our lived experience since the 2022 election is what? They fixed the substantive infirmities with the law. For more on this and other law enforcement matters, we're pleased to be joined again by former Chicago Police Superintendent Eddie Johnson. Eddie, thanks so much for being with us again. Appreciate it.
Not a problem. How you doing this morning, Dan?
Good. Great to talk to you again. Should the Safety Act be repealed in total, in your view?
I think so. I think it's unbelievable to me and just injustice to the public at large that we continue going down this road. Listen, I've never been a fan of like incarceration and that nature. Of it is need to stay incarcerated. They need to stay in jail until they get. When you give the judge too much leeway, then they tend to go liberal on things. Now, I'm not saying all judges are like that, but this is a perfect example of ridiculous policy. And it just
Eddie, you're cutting out on us a little bit. Are you in a bad zone?
No, I should be. Hold on. Let me move around a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, let me move around a little bit.
Maybe they're trying to jam your signal there at City Hall. I'm not sure.
That's always a possibility.
It's always a possibility, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, is it getting any better?
Okay, yeah. Try just if you could restate what you were saying there about the basis to repeal the Safety Act.
Yeah, I think it's ridiculous. I think that this last case that you mentioned is a perfect example of how ridiculous it is. It's not doing the public at large any justice at all. It's actually putting them in danger. The fact that you keep releasing a violent offender like that is just ridiculous, And violent offenders, number one, should never be subject to being denied bail, or they should never be the subject of being released until they get their day in court. If it's proven that they are not a danger, then okay, fine. But to continuously let these violent offenders out to only repeat the offenses they've already committed is just ridiculous, in my opinion.
We hear that from both JB as well as BJ that crime is at a 30-year low, and they know what they're doing. They're doing it, and it's working. Is that right?
No, listen, crime is cyclical, Dad, and no, I wouldn't agree with that assessment at all. First of all, JB and the governor, the mayor, they're not the ones out there on the front lines arresting these people. It's the men and women of law enforcement, men and women of the Chicago Police Department that are doing that. So we are seeing lows, and I think that's a credit to what the superintendent and his troops are doing. So I thank them for that. But I don't think it has anything to do with this Safety Act. I really don't. I just think that, you look across the nation and violent crime is down across the nation. But again, it's cyclical. So let's see what happens last year. Don't get me wrong. I hope that it stays that way, but I don't think it's because of the policies they've enacted.
What is your review? I mean, we've been seeing this for a while now, so this predates Brandon Johnson's reign, of course. But, the kids being silly kind of incidents, according to, that's how Brandon characterizes them, the wildings or the youth gatherings or whatever euphemism you want to use, like we saw a couple weeks ago that occurred outside the Chicago Theater where 8 people were shot, and then a 14-year-old was killed around the corner from the Chicago Theater. What we saw over the weekend with a cop that was shot trying to break up a fight on the South Side, and thankfully his vest probably saved his life. I mean, just sort of the culture of violence that seems to. And if you think that is something that is just been sort of part of the Chicago landscape over the last several generations, or it is trending in the direction of more mayhem, more chaos.
Yeah, I agree with that last statement you just made. I think it's trending for us to have continued issues with this. Here's the bottom line: if you don't have the certainty of a consequence for committing certain crimes, then you'll keep getting what you're getting if you keep doing what you're doing. And believe me, Dan, these kids, they watch the news, they see what's going on, they see how liberal some folks are in regards to this. And listen, it's not just kids having fun. They're going down there assaulting people, battering people, severe property damage, theft. And if you don't hold them accountable for what they do, then why wouldn't they continue to do it? We can't wait for them to age out of getting tired of committing these crimes. There has to be a certainty to a consequence. And when they know there's a certainty of a consequence, then they'll stop doing what they're doing. And the other part to that is, especially when you have these underage teenagers down there, then you hold their parents accountable also. Because I guarantee you, let's just say, for instance, the judge said, okay, you're 15 years old. This is what we're going to do. We're going to have you and your parent do 100 hours of community service. You don't think that would get that parent's attention to ensure they know where their child is on a Saturday night and it's 80 degrees in Chicago? Of course that'll get their attention. But if we keep pretending like it's not what it is, then we're going to keep getting what we're getting.
You know, I often invoke this observation you made when you were superintendent several years back, that basically that we know it was either like 1,500 or 2,000 people that are likely to be shooters or likely to get shot. And if we could focus on those who have unfortunately given themselves over to a life of violence, deal with those repeat offenders, then just removing those individuals would do wonders for reducing the incidence of violent crime in Chicago. Number one, is that a fair characterization of what you said? And number two, if it is that still your view today?
Yeah, that is a fair characterization. Listen, when I left CPD, we had about 120,000 documented gang members in the city of Chicago. And that's not the police saying you're a gang member. That's them telling us. And the reason that they do that is because when they get arrested, they don't want you, of course, housing them with members of different gangs, which makes total sense. Out of that 120,000, we identified roughly 2,000 that were really the worst of the worst. And if you focus on that group, because the other ones, if you can offer them a different alternative in a lot of cases, they would do a different thing. But that 2,000 that we identified, they were just hardcore gangbangers. And if you can deal with that group, you would see the incident of violent crime in Chicago going down in that regard. Because let's face it, Dan, even though you might have, let's just say for instance, you have 40 members of a particular gang. All 40 members of that gang are not prone to shoot people. It takes a certain individual to knowingly and intentionally go out here and shoot and potentially kill someone. So if you identify that group and then you deal with them, the bottom line is this. Some people need to go to prison. Some people need to be off the street, because they have just shown us time and time again they don't want to play by the rules of society. So I definitely still have that viewpoint, and I still think if we identify those folks and we remove them from the streets of Chicago, we'll have a safer Chicago.
Eddie Johnson, former Chicago Police Superintendent. Eddie, thank you as always for your time. Appreciate it.
All right, Dan, you have a great rest of your week. Thank you.
You too. And former Superintendent Johnson joined us on the Turnkey.pro answer line.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Too much on your list this season? Get 50% off your first 6 months of payroll at gusto.com/radio. Gusto saves you 2 days every month on payroll, taxes, and compliance. So you can go from making payroll to making gingerbread houses, checking your books to decking the halls, spreadsheets to snow angels. Switch before the end of the year and there's no need to transfer payroll history. Now that's a reason to be merry. Choose a future with Gusto and get more time for what matters. For a limited time, get 50% off your first 6 months at gusto.com/radio.
This is the time of the year most of us are checking off our holiday gift list. Identity thieves have lists too, and your personal information might be on that list. Protect your identity with LifeLock. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every single second and alerts you to the threats you could miss yourself. If your identity is stolen, your own U.S.-based restoration specialist is going to work to fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Make this season about joy, not identity theft, with LifeLock. Save up to 40% off your first year at LifeLock.com with the promo code BECK. Terms apply.
Dan Proft here, and once again, we are partnered with Food for the Poor this holiday season as we help to provide life-saving food and water to children in Latin America and the Caribbean, where families and communities may have little or no access to food, safe water, and the basics of life. As anybody who listens to this show knows, Food for the Poor has been doing this kind of work for more than 40 years in 17 countries. They've fed millions of people and provided more than $15 billion in aid. They are reputable and transparent with really an unparalleled track record of doing this important work to help people in poor nations in Latin America and the Caribbean who are struggling to survive just the basics of life, food and water. Your gift of $150 can provide food and water for 2 children for an entire year. For $300, that's food and water for 4 children for an entire year. That's the impact your gift can have. To make a gift in any amount, you just call 844-862-4673 or visit 560theanswer.com/food for the poor. Again, the website, 560theanswer.com/food for the poor. We also, again this year, as we have in previous, are doing our business benefactor program. We need business donor leadership here to make this work, meet our goals for this holiday campaign. How it works is your business makes a tax-deductible gift of $2,500 to Food for the Poor. And AM 560 provides 40 one-minute commercials to air on this station Monday to Friday, prime broadcasting hours between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. That's the best marketing deal in all of Chicago radio. And at the same time, you'll be providing life-saving food and water for more than 30 children in Latin America and the Caribbean. To become a business benefactor, just call John Gallagher at 847-472-8950. Again, that's John at 847-472-8950 to become a business benefactor.
This past year has been one of the hardest in MyPillow's history. It's because of you that they are making it through. They want to thank you for your continued support by passing on some Christmas specials to our listeners. Get the Children's Bible Story Pillow 5-pack for $29.98. My Slippers with a free bottle of leather protectant spray for $39.98. Blankets, comforters, and duvets for as low as $25, and a blowout sale on the standard MyPillows for just $14.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY to take advantage of these wholesale prices, including the standard size MyPillow, originally $49.98, now only $14.98. Queens, $18.99. Kings, only $1 more. 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY. We know MyPillow products come with a 10-year warranty, but MyPillow has just announced that they are extending their 60-day money-back guarantee. That's right. Orders placed between now and December 25th will have their 60-day money-back guarantee extended through March 1st, 2026. Promo code LIBERTY.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up at 8:38, we'll be joined by RealClearPolitics.com's investigative reporter, Susan Crabtree. We'll have the latest on the pipe bomber case. 8:38. Now we check the headlines.
Good morning. It is 20 degrees here in Chicago on AM 560 The Answer. I'm Stace Keene in the AM 560 newsroom. A federal trial is set to begin this morning in a lawsuit filed by a man who was shot by a Chicago police officer. Ariel Roman was shot by Officer Melvina Bogard at a CTA station in 2020 after officers say he resisted arrest, charges that were later dropped. Officer Bogard was acquitted of aggravated battery and misconduct charges 3 years ago. Roman is suing the city for excessive force and is seeking unspecified damages. A woman's died following a crash in Logan Square early this morning. According to reports, 2 women were in the vehicle when the driver lost control and struck a parked car, sliding across the road and striking the back of a semi-truck. One of those 2 women was ejected from the vehicle and pronounced dead at the scene. The driver transported to the hospital where she's listed in good condition. The truck's driver declined treatment. This report is a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Think full mouth dental implants are too expensive? Think again, not at AlmostFreeTeeth.com. With medical insurance, you could save thousands and receive your finally affordable dream smile. Check if you qualify today at AlmostFreeTeeth.com. A check of the roads is coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
Larry Elder explains what Obamacare is all about.
If you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. False. If you like your health care plan, you can keep your health care plan. False. It'll save the average family $2,500 a year in premiums. False. It'll bend the cost curve down. False. It'll lower the use of ER rooms. False. It was supposed to solve the problem. It's gotten worse.
The Larry Elder Show. Weeknights at 8, right before Sean Hannity at 10 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hello? Sir, this is Officer Peterson. There's been a string of break-ins in the area, and your office, it was hit. Hit? What do you mean? We were robbed? Looks like the back door lock was easily pried open, and they moved through the building like they knew exactly what to take. We see wires everywhere. No computers. What? No computers? I just upgraded everything. Looks like they moved fast. We only found out because a neighboring business had their alarm go off. Do you have any security cameras?
No. Nothing.
Don't wait until it's too late.
Goldilocks protects Chicagoland businesses with custom security solutions. From reinforced commercial doors with keyless entry to cameras and 24/7 monitoring that alerts authorities immediately. Schedule a free on-site assessment at GoldilocksInc.com. Again, that's GoldilocksInc.com. Plus, AM 560 listeners get their first 3 months of monitoring free with a new install. Call 708-889-5600. That's 708-889-5600. Goldilocks, Chicago's premier locksmith, doors, and security systems company since 1981.
We couldn't decide if we needed in-home care for Dad.
Right. Just some help here and there with bathing, organizing his meds, a walk through the neighborhood.
Oh, exactly. But everywhere we looked, we had a 4-hour minimum. It was more care than he needed. And it didn't make sense to spend extra for it.
Then we found Senior Helpers of Naperville Southwest. No minimum hours. We were shocked.
Now a caregiver stops by once or twice a week for just an hour or two to help with the small things that make a big difference.
And Mom loves the visits. It's not just help. It's companionship.
At Senior Helpers of Naperville Southwest, we understand that not every family needs round-the-clock care. We serve DuPage, Cook, Kane, Kendall, and Will counties. We conduct free in-home assessments and we guarantee compatibility. Call Senior Helpers of Naperville Southwest today at 331-281-0728. Again, that's 331-281-0728. And tell them AM 560 sent you. Senior Helpers of Naperville Southwest. Senior care. Only better.
We have reached the age where things just cost more.
Cars, phones, life insurance.
Your blood pressure is up.
Your weight is up.
You're one to talk.
I have type 2 diabetes, so I'm getting dinged just like you.
Thank goodness for Big Lou.
Big Lou!
Big Lou can get term life insurance rates for a 50-year-old male with type 2 diabetes or high blood pressure, or maybe he's on anxiety meds for just around $200 a month for $1 million of coverage.
Oh, you got to say that again.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'll say it. Big Lou and term provider could get a 50-year-old man, a little dinged up, $1 million in life insurance for around $200 a month.
Call Big Lou.
Big Lou.
He's like you.
800-555-2085. That's 800-555-2085.
Don't put it off. If you're overweight, diabetic, have high blood pressure, you gotta call Big Lou.
Gotta.
800-555-2085.
Write it down.
800-555-2085.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Alpha Wealth Group, bringing the trilogy of estate, tax, and investment planning together. Visit alphawealthgroup.com for a free report.
Taking a look at the roads from the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Sue Aller. Stop and go delays on the Kennedy outbound between Addison Street and Pulaski Road with a collision, taking down 2 left lanes. So outbound from the Byrne interchange to O'Hare, it's 43 minutes. Inbound is 41. You also have a collision on the inbound Stevenson at Pulaski Road. It's off on the right shoulder. So inbound Stevenson from the Tri-State to Lakeshore, 41 minutes. Outbound is 23. There's a crash on the Tri-State southbound at the CalSag Bridge. Delays go back to 127th Street. This report is sponsored by Lowe's. My Lowe's Pro Rewards members get 500 points for logging into the Lowe's app for the first time. Take advantage of all your Pro benefits today. Valid December 1st, 2025 to January 7th, 2026. Offer valid for first login only. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Visit Lowe's.com/terms for more details. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now a check of your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Today, expect mostly cloudy skies with very cold temperatures reaching a high of 24. Tonight will remain mostly cloudy with cold conditions early on, turning breezy later. The low will be 17, but temperatures will rise into the mid-20s. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. So, what do we understand from the alleged D.C. pipe bomber? That he's a white guy who thought the 2020 election was stolen, so he's MAGA. He's a white MAGA guy. Combination of Jake Tapper's reporting and the D.C. press corps reporting. No, not exactly. Not exactly. Relatives, neighbors, and sources familiar with the investigation into Brian Cole, the D.C. Brian Cole Jr., the D.C. pipe bomber, alleged. Paint a picture of a naive young man, likely on the autism spectrum, who wouldn't have thrown up red flags while trotting out a pet chihuahua for walks near his family's home in Woodbridge, Virginia. Grandma Loretta says he's almost autistic-like because he doesn't understand a lot of stuff. I don't know. He's 30 years old. I mean, does he have a diagnosis or not? I don't know. She said he's not a terrorist. He's very naive. He would not hurt a fly. He's just not that kind of person. Well, what people think and then what people do. With respect to the thought the 2020 election was stolen and that was supposedly a possible motive, of course, the D.C. press corps doesn't bother to read its own reporting, at least some of its own reporting, which indicated that the alleged pipe bomb maker began making those pipe bombs in 2019. So that would be before the 2020 election. I mean, just a point of order. But you go ahead and work on selling half the country that would probably buy it. They're so sort of ideologically blinded that it's a white MAGA guy and it's violence from the right that's the real political problem in this country. For more on this topic and others, pleased to be joined by Susan Crabtree. She, of course, is investigative reporter, White House correspondent for RealClearPolitics.com. She's also the author of the book Fool's Gold: The Radicals, Con Artists, and Traitors Who Killed the California Dream and Now Threaten us all. Fool's Gold is the book. Susan Crabtree, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
It's my pleasure, Dan. Thanks for having me.
So what can you add to our understanding of this white, MAGA-loving D.C. pipe bomber?
Yeah, not so much. What we've found out is just sort of piled mystery on mystery, as Miranda Devine has said in her recent column. I would invite your readers to go there and your viewers to read what she came up with, which is exactly spot on. This idea that he is MAGA, that he was upset about the election, the so-called stolen election, was put out by Natasha Bertrand. She was the CNN reporter that is responsible for that reporting, that dumped all that ridiculous statements from 51 intelligence officials that discredited the laptop from hell that Miranda Devine reported on, censored it, basically, convinced the social media, Twitter at the time, and Facebook to censor anybody who talked about it online. So she's the one who's trying to build up that narrative. But what I'm interested in this reporting is the so-called corrupted cell phone records, because we want to know why the FBI under Christopher Wray, under Biden's administration, could not come up with this material and get an indictment or an arrest for 5 years.
Right, and that's right. So that disclosure is of interest for certain, and of course, it seems to be they're sort of preempting the cover story with this idea that he would fly under the radar. So just because you have pings on his cell phone in the area at the time in question doesn't mean that you don't have many others. And how do you drill down from the wide swath into this particular individual? I suppose that's what you would hear from the FBI, which is why we need to understand exactly what they accomplished with respect to this investigation and where they left it off before they handed it off.
That's right. One of the top officials at the FBI, strangely enough, he was the same one that was responsible for that Gretchen Whitmer patsy type of attack, that they were plotting against her, that people were plotting against her, and it was absolutely false. He's the one who told Congress that one of the cell phone records from the 3 telecom companies that they asked for them was corrupted. Of course, the telecom companies told Congress that's not true in a report that was released this January. So that was their big excuse on why they could not pin this down, why they could not locate anyone responsible for this. But it just leads you to wonder, what was that? Was that a perjury to Congress?
Do you believe that, at this juncture, that it is a closed question as to whether or not this Brian Cole is the right guy, as Dan Bongino said last week, and that he acted alone for, at this point, an unknown reason?
I don't know if they're saying he acted alone. They don't have any information at this point to share. Whether he acted alone, I honestly believe that it was rushed. This arrest of him was rushed because, as you know, or maybe your listeners don't know, that Miranda Devine was reported a very critical column about the FBI, that it was rudderless, and that there were people that were incredibly unhappy with the direction of the FBI, and some, that minor flap about Kash Patel's rain jacket and whether he wanted to look like a souped-up FBI agent when he departed the plane in Utah after Charlie Kirk's assassination. Now, I don't think the rain jacket is a big deal, but these other complaints about what was going on in the FBI are interesting in the timing that this was done, the arrest was made. And they said in the press conference, as soon as they had the address, just a few days after that report, when Kash and Dan were under incredible pressure to produce results, especially after they were embarrassed over the Thomas Crooks larger digital profile, we'll put it that way, and his connections to a furry site that they didn't disclose, and that Miranda and Tucker Carlson disclosed.
Yeah.
And I helped out with that report. Miranda called me, and I contributed to that report. And then they threw cold water all over it. I think they were under a lot of pressure to produce some results on something else because they screwed up on the Thomas Crooks story.
Well, it is interesting. So number one, ABC News, I know over the weekend, reported that he confessed during his interrogation. Okay. And then we have this question about his mental capacity based on some of the characterizations of the family. I don't know. I don't know the veracity of that. That would be interesting, though. But Bongino said on Hannity last week after the arrest, this is the beginning of the investigation, which sort of speaks to they're not ready to just say that he was the sole actor. So you have a confession, you have some physical evidence that seems to place him at the DNC and RNC at the relevant time, in addition to what he did in terms of buying supplies from these hardware stores and so forth. But it was interesting that Bongino said the beginning of the investigation was this arrest.
Yeah, because I want to know if they talked to the father. Because the father, as we now know from Luke Roshak, who's a former colleague of mine and just won one of the Dow Award, he's one of the winners from 2 weeks ago for his Doge reporting, great investigative reporter that I'm really good friends with. He reported that the father was a bail bondsman, owned this company that was getting immigrants out of ICE detention centers, bailing them out, and that he sued the DHS under Trump for the policies against immigrants at the time. So, why did you talk to the dad? The dad was at the arraignment, I understand from the reporting over the weekend. I just think this whole thing was rushed. It was on Dan Bongino's birthday. I think Dan Bongino's headed out the door.
Really?
At the FBI. Yep, that's my reporting suggests that. And I think this is all time to give him a win on the way out the door. It is a great development, a breakthrough. I gave him credit for that and Kash for that in my reporting on Friday. But whether this is the beginning of the story or the end of the story, this is the beginning of the story.
Why is Bongino on his way out? Is that his choice or is that the administration's choice?
That's a good question. I don't know. there was, as you know, there was a big dust-up between he and Pam Bondi over the Epstein files,
right?
Where he threatened to say, like, it was me or Pam Bondi is going to have to go. And so I think things have been just simmering down, and I think there was a determination at that point that he would leave at around Christmas time.
That's very interesting. Because, of course, Trump has reiterated his faith in cash, as he has Hegseth, anybody who comes under fire, which makes a lot of sense. I mean, that's what you should do. You're not going to let the D.C. press corps dictate your personnel choices. But what a president or a politician says publicly and what may be going behind the scenes, two different things. So, I mean, is it your sense from, your contacts that in addition to that potential dust up with Bondi there over the Epstein files, that there are people in the inner circle that have lost faith in Dan and Cash, or it's just a situation where it's mutual and Dan wants to go back to podcasting and so forth? I don't know.
I do think he is upset about his podcasting career because this has damaged it, not irreparably, because he has a strong following, obviously. But I do think he, being in government, has compromised his positions on Epstein and Thomas Crook and other investigations, meaning that he can't talk about them. And how do you be a podcaster if you can't talk honestly about them because it's classified material? Didn't want to talk about Thomas Crook, his whole footprint. Didn't feel obligated to tell the American people the truth about that, and that Thomas Crook, the Trump shooter, was anti-Trump, and that was in direct contradiction to what Christopher Wray testified to Congress about him. Mm-hmm. So I feel like, who knows if it is his choice or the administration's choice. I mean, people do know, but I can't confirm that right now. But I do believe he's on his way out, and this was rushed so that he could get a win on his way out the door.
Susan Crabtree, RealClearPolitics.com's national political correspondent, co-author of the book Fool's Gold, The Radicals, Con Artists, and Traitors Who Killed the California Dream and Now Threaten Us All. Fool's Gold is the book. Susan Crabtree, the reporter. Susan, thank you as always. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Dan, for having me. Take care.
Take care. And Susan joined us on the Turnkey.pro answer line.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Hello, my name is Dr. Michael Huber, co-founder and developer of Virago, the immune enhancement cocktail. From all of us at Virago, we want to wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy Hanukkah and a Happy New Year. To our incredible 560 AM listeners, we want to say thank you for your support this year. It has meant the world to us. And we want you to celebrate, cherish these moments, and most importantly, be safe and healthy. The H3N2 variant is on the horizon, and we want you to be ready. Don't wait until it's too late. Be prepared. Protect your family during this holiday season. Stay healthy with Virago, and Merry Christmas.
Flu season is here. Boost your immune system with Virago and protect yourself. Order your bottle of Virago online today. Visit myvirago.com. Use coupon code IMMUNE to save 30% at checkout. That's myvirago.com.
If you're drowning in debt, you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender, for a fresh start debt consolidation refinance. Today, meet Jordan, 47, married to Jackie, 43. Combined income, $260,000 a year. Not bad. They live in a $600,000 home with their 3 kids and called to pay off their credit card debt, high interest rate consumer loans, and 2 401k loans totaling more than $150,000. Team Hochberg loan officer Cindy Piazza helped Jordan and Jackie secure a fresh start debt consolidation refinance, which saved them over $1,000 a month. Let's review. Team Hochberg loan officer Cindy Piazza helped Jordan and Jackie consolidate their debt and eliminate their financial stress with a Team Hochberg fresh start debt consolidation refinance, saving them over $12,000 a year. Team Hochberg has helped thousands of AM 560 listeners, but they can't help you if you don't call 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. That number again, 855-563-2843. And the website you know and love, 56david.com. AmFi60TheAnswer.com. NMLS 1124061.
Business owners, now's the time for your business to make the move to a locally owned business bank. Hi, Mike Gallagher here to let you know that you don't have to look far. Signature Bank was founded in Chicago with a simple mission to help companies like yours grow, succeed, and thrive. Their decisions are made locally by a terrific team that knows your name, cares about your business, and invests in your success. That's why Signature Bank is my bank. I'm a customer. As business owners, they knew that local family-owned businesses were not getting the help they needed or deserved. So I invite you to reach out to my friends at Signature Bank today. Write the number down. Remember this phone number, Signature Bank, 773-467-5630, and learn all about this great bank, 773-467-5630, or visit them online at signaturebank.bank. That's signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank makes commercial banking personal. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Dan Proft here to tell you about an opportunity for you to promote your business and to make a difference this Christmas season. I'm talking about our Food for the Poor Business Benefactor Program. We've partnered with Food for the Poor to provide life-saving food and water for thousands of children and their families in Latin America and the Caribbean. Your business can be a part of this effort. Become a Food for the Poor business benefactor by making a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Food for the Poor. That donation will help more than 30 children for an entire year. And when you do that, AM 560 will give you 40 one-minute commercials to air here on AM 560 The Answer between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. Monday through Friday at no additional cost to you. To take advantage of this deal, just call John Gallagher at 847-472-8950. Again, that's 847-472-8950. One more time, the number, 847-472-8950. Or go to 560theanswer.com/food for the poor. That website again, 560theanswer.com/food for the poor.
At Terra Vista of Oak Brook Terrace, dementia care isn't just what we do, it's all we do. We specialize in caring for those with Alzheimer's and other types of dementia. We're on the forefront of dementia care with a barrier-free, stress-free environment, so residents can explore safely and feel at home. But what truly sets Terra Vista apart? Personalized care. We take the time to learn each resident's story, where they lived, their routines, former careers, even the names of family members. Anyone who interacts with your loved one can immediately make them feel comfortable and understood. We meet our residents right where they are. Residents stay strong and engaged with multi-sensory activities, music, art, horticulture, our beautiful 18,000 square foot outdoor space, and even a personal trainer. At Terra Vista, residents aren't defined by their dementia. We honor the whole person. Speak to an advisor or schedule a tour today at terravista.org. Again, that's terravista.org, and tell them AM 560 sent you.
AM 560, The Answer.
Some news today. Former Chicago Police Chief Eddie Johnson says yes, repeal the Pritzker Purge Law. Susan Crabtree reporting Dan Bongino is not long for the FBI. Let's end on a positive note. Great Big Ten championship over the weekend. And the post game was just as good. Fernando Mendoza, soon to be Heisman Trophy winner.
Oh, congratulations, Indiana, the Big Ten champs. How does that sound?
It sounds so beautiful. I want to give all the glory to God. We were never supposed to be in this position, but by the glory of God, the great coaches, great teammates, everyone we have around us, we were able to pull this off. Whoever thought the Hoosiers would be here, but now the Hoosiers are flipping champs. Let's go.
Let's go. It's now 9 o'clock, AM 560 WIND Chicago.
Not so fast. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. On Friday, Netflix announced an agreement to buy Warner Brothers Discovery. Fox's Frank Lanza reports somebody else is trying to swoop in.
Paramount announcing an all-cash offer worth $30 a share to acquire Warner Brothers. In a press release, Paramount saying they're